Good morning. Uh, Gizzard Gary has flown the coop, so we're doing a fill-in chat for him this morning. And I sent out some links, so if you check your emails if you're out there, see if you got some links, and we'll try and go until go the 4 hours. We'll see if I make it or not. Gary's little, but he's got stamina, so we'll see if we can hang with that. But
How small is he?
4'2", but stands above.
He is, I don't know, what is he really? It's like 5'5", 5'6".
No, he's somewhere under.
Yeah.
Can't tell.
Small in stature, but big in heart. So let's say hello to everybody out there first, before we say hello to everyone in here. The Kingpin was out there, thumbs in it up. MC, good morning, MC. And Tactical Fud, good morning, Buck. Caucasian Sasquatch is excited, wants to know, are you excited?
It's too early.
Mike White, good morning, Mike. And Rich White. Ozzy Orsborn, meowing at the moon. I don't know, maybe he's drunk from last night. But good morning to everybody out there and anybody that might be watching but not commenting. How's it going, Rich? How you doing?
All right, I suppose. And I think the favorite thing from Willow was, I don't know if you've ever seen the blooper reel, the general, where he's supposed to say, he says the line, "Kill the beast, find the baby," botched the line, and he said, "Find the beast, kill the baby."
I don't think I've seen that. But I do love the movie Willow.
Never seen it.
It's
I'll see myself out.
well, I could see it in the 80s. It was awesome. Now it's awesome because it was awesome in the 80s.
It was
the trailer for the TV show just came out. Do you know they're doing one?
No, I did not.
With Warwick Davis.
Really?
It looks pretty bad, but I haven't seen the movie. But I have zero interest in seeing either one.
No. It'll probably be just as bad as that Lord of the Rings series they're making.
Yeah, I'm not. Most likely it's on a channel that I don't get, so I won't be watching it anyways.
Disney Plus.
Yep.
They own everything now.
The Lord of the Rings one, that's on Amazon Prime.
That one, I've kind of pretended I don't have that. So just everything that I've heard about it.
They're making up new characters, getting rid of old characters. It's like characters that play a prominent role in the storyline aren't showing up. I mean, it's like, what the hell is the point of this? This isn't a Lord of the Rings show. This is a
money
medieval fantasy show. Yeah, that they're just slapping the Lord of the Rings name on it.
Well, that's something that really bugs me is they take these they're called IPs now, intellectual
property.
Yeah. And then revamping them, changing them to the way they want them. No. Why don't you just make up your own thing? Well, it's because you know you won't get the views if you don't use this popular name.
Mm-hmm.
Just make your own thing, and you can make it however you want. Stop ruining.
I agree, which is why
stories.
Darth Vader should fight like an old man with a baseball bat. Quit ruining my old stuff.
I understand, but I'm going to disagree. Just because in that hallway scene, he kicked ass.
But he's not supposed to.
But he does. And let me see. Where is it? It looks something like this. That kicks ass.
Maybe.
Oh, there's no maybes about it. I understand and can sympathize with the point that you make. I'm okay overlooking it.
If you don't pretend episode 4 even exists, that's an amazing scene. I agree.
Mm.
They should do a special edition where they redo that fight. How hard would that be?
I don't know. I didn't like the redoing that they already have done to the original trilogy.
No one will even notice.
And I had the original trilogy on VHS and DVD, and then got rid of them and bought the re-release with the extra footage and instantly regretted it.
When they put them out on Blu-ray and DVD, they completely ruined the end of Return of the Jedi because they put that idiot Hayden Christensen in there as Vader.
Well, even just the little thing of putting when they changed Boba Fett, changed his voice. You know, it's not really that noticeable, but I noticed it. So now I will always notice it. G23's out there. Good morning, G23. I sent you a link. So if you want to jump in, if you got time this morning, come on in.
Have you seen the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show? Even the trailer?
No, I have no intention of watching it.
No.
I don't know how he aged that much in like the next 9 years to become like a 75-year-old man. But it's rough.
Drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Too much partying with Yoda.
Start smoking death sticks.
Maybe that's how the show ends. He's just in a hut doing death sticks
in his underwear.
He's sitting there in one of the same people huts, just having one hell of a party.
He's laying in a pool of his own vomit.
Mm-hmm. Which is why the sand people didn't kill him. They couldn't stand the smell long enough to get near him.
He's mumbling, Anakin, no. But, down at the bottom of the screen is the ticker that's going by with email on tacticalfoss@gmail.com. You can submit suggestions, comments, or Gorn. It's not Gary's usual Gorn day, but we like looking at the pictures of guns or knives or whatever. Within
I had
reason.
some Gorn for Gary. Did you see it?
Yes. That was nice. Put it on Instagram and tag it with hashtag GGFT, I think is the hashtag. So he'll go through Instagram and look at it.
GGFG?
FT. Gizzard Gary Foul Territory.
GGFT
Okay.
Gorn.
Oh, do you have to put Gordon in it?
Yeah, it's GGFT Gorn.
Well, sounds way too complicated.
Yeah, I've been doing it wrong then for a while. Maybe that's why he doesn't show my pictures.
That's okay. Whenever I hit the hashtag over there on Instagram and go and look at it, it only shows me the top posts. I can't even see all of them. There's 235 posts. I see 9.
Honcho Fett's out there. Good morning, Honcho. Yeah, what was it, last Sunday? The gun snob sent me a Gorn picture. He labeled it Gorn, but it was Mystic sleeping in the car. So I didn't see it until the next day, but I probably wouldn't have shown it. But.
I found the hashtag. I posted it in the chat. This is what you have to write.
Yeah, so I've been doing it wrong.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Honcho saying Jedis don't drink because if they get drunk, their lightsabers are bent. Is that like the old guy from Family Guy when they do their Blue Moon episode?
Well, he just hadn't taken his Viagra that day.
So, what are you guys up to today?
Surviving. How about you?
I'm doing this, and then probably a nap.
Naps are nice.
So you really are being Gary today.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really have anything planned for today. What about you, Rich?
No, not really.
Are you doing your show today?
Yeah, that'd be later on tonight or this evening, whatever. Evening, late afternoon, your time.
Caucasian Sasquatch is saying Yoda with OCD, compulsively flicking light switches with the Force.
That's the only way Yoda could reach them. You know, Yoda either learned how to use the Force or he lived his life in the dark.
He just used his stick, right?
Well, so then you didn't like the Yoda part either, where he fights?
Yoda fights in Empire Strikes Back?
No, in what is it, the Clone Wars?
Clone Wars, I think, and Revenge of the Sith too, didn't he?
I'm just being an asshole. I pretend those don't exist.
Yeah, because he fought
happened.
Palpatine in the Senate chamber.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
He had it was nice that he had a Yoda-sized lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been funny if it was normal sized. Wouldn't it?
So he's just hitting everything with it while he's trying to swing it.
Yep.
Lobs his own arm off.
Mike White's going after a gopher. I'm all right. Don't have to worry about me.
Yeah. A pro tip: don't use C4.
I hate Instagram. Have I said that before?
I don't think I've heard you say it.
No.
I like it. Just kind of, it's an instant gratification,
I only use it for shit posting. That's all I do. And rarely is it original shit posting.
I do some of that, and then I try to use my account to promote gun ownership and Second Amendment stuff, but also try to bring in people who maybe aren't in that circle by posting other things that I'm interested in, pictures of animals in the backyard or stuff like that. I love it if I can get someone to like it. Like when I, posted pictures of a salamander, I got the North American Salamander Association like that post. It's like a notch in my belt. Good morning, Rob. How are you doing?
I'm alive.
Barely.
You sure
God
about that?
damn. Rough night.
Good morning, guys.
Yeah, Rob just put out a video of waterfall. I forget the name of it.
He sounds like he
Titanic
went over
Falls.
one.
What was that, Rob?
Titanic Falls, they call it. So. Yeah, pretty nice. It did sound like I went over a waterfall a minute ago, huh?
Yeah,
You washed
like
ashore and joined the stream.
I commented on your video. We don't really have those kind of rock formations that like that. Like if you've ever seen the Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis, when they're running across country and they go across the rocks and stuff, we've got different kind of rocks over here in the West, especially Washington, where it's a lot of in Western Washington, there's a lot of glacial till, and so the formations are different.
Yeah, we've got a few areas like that around here. Actually, quite a few. Kind of, I don't know, valleys or gorges. So they make for definitely some nice spots. So obviously, some of them end up with waterfalls or several waterfalls. A lot of times, great place to go kill some time, get wet, especially if you got young kids, things like that. A lot of them there's areas for both adults and kids where you can safely have a good time. So it's fun, nice to get out and check out. It's a shame you don't have anything like that in your area. So even I don't know if you're into geology or anything, but it's good in a lot of ways, I guess, especially if kids are studying things in school. It's nice to be able to take them out and actually just put your hands on things, look at things. So depending on what you're into, it can be a good time.
The valleys and gorges and stuff like that combined with all the trees are why you don't need a long range rifle in the East Coast to go deer hunting. You don't see a deer far enough away to use it.
There's some areas around here, fields that stretch for quite a ways where all the time when we head to work or whatnot, we're always seeing animals on the side. But there's some longer areas, but I think you would probably be crossing property lines in those cases. So the woods around here are too thick to get anything too far of a shot. So and again, the open fields tend to be divided up to different homeowners or property owners, and everybody's not a fan of people coming on their property. So
yeah, around here you shoot a deer that's 300 yards away and you got a mile hike to get to it.
CNT Designs and Arms, good morning. And Night Shaft, good morning to you. If you got time, there's a link in the Discord, Night Shaft. Yeah, kind of Western Washington is because of the subduction zone. It's like if you take a piece of paper and then push the ends in, and it gets all crumpled in the middle. There's lots of hills.
Yeah, that's why if you shoot a deer 200 or 300, you got a mile hike because you got to hike from one side, one hill to the next hill. So going down the valley to get to it. If you could fly like Superman, you wouldn't have far to go, but
Good morning, Gunmetal Guy. Yeah, G23 is mentioning Snoqualmie Falls. That's kind of the big one here in Western Washington. I've never actually been out to Snoqualmie Falls. I know my wife wants to go. It's just I've never gone.
Sounds like a hot date.
Well, it would be a hot date with the kids there, so not too hot.
Yeah, G23 was telling me how the one in my video was nothing, little baby waterfall, and he's got impressive stuff everywhere out by his house. So, which I find hard to believe coming from a Glock guy, but you never know.
Well, it's probably just really popular, but kind of generic looking.
Here's Snoqualmie Falls.
Nice. Nice. That's a nice looking one. I would call that comparable to some of the ones we have around here. G23.
Yeah,
Nice though.
There's one around here called Rainbow Falls, and pretty much I haven't been out to it either, but from the pictures I've seen, it's a stream and the water goes over a rock. That's I don't know why it's called Rainbow Falls.
Too bad Dry Falls is dry, because I would have made a hell of a waterfall. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Let's see if I get the stats, but it's bigger than Niagara. It's 3.5 miles long.
Got a Rainbow Falls type thing here. There's a spot where you can, as you're hiking up, you can look up, and the way the mist comes off the falls, it always looks like a rainbow. So there's like a perfect cutout. Everybody takes pictures. It's almost like you're in a building, I don't know, corridor looking up, down, I guess. That's probably a bad description, but the waterfall is, I don't know, I'm having a bad time here. Kind of like looking up an elevator shaft or down or something. You're standing on the side, and everything in front of you is mist and rainbow all the way up, with stairs that go in through the mountain rock and spiral on up and stuff. So pretty nice. If you're Googling stuff, you might be able to find it at Watkins Glen State Park, I believe it is. That's a pretty nice one. So I got some video, but I'm not sure if I threw it up or if that's one of the ones I went to take that didn't work out well. I'm sure some of you guys probably can relate to that. A couple times I've tried to hit record at things, and come to find out I was turning off the camera, and I recorded me walking with, staring at my legs most of the time. So stupid stuff like that happens once in a while. That might have been one of the videos. So pretty nice though.
So Dry Falls, the world's biggest waterfall without water, unfortunately. It's 5 times bigger than Niagara.
Wow.
It's in central Washington. But no water.
Really classify as falls still if nothing falls off it? I mean, obviously it did at a time. It seems kind of, I don't know, weird.
Well, that's why they call it Dry Falls. But
Man,
the world's biggest waterfall without water is what it's called. But it's 3.5 miles wide with a 400-foot drop. There is water. It just doesn't go over. It's I guess you call it a lake now. So we need some more of that global warming. Melt some more ice. Maybe it'll start working again. Who knows?
I have been to Flaming Geyser. Went out there, state park. There's a spring, and it's got methane in it, so you can light it on fire. When we went out, it was middle of the summer, so it was dry. Um, but you could see all the matches that people threw down there trying to light it.
Seen people light their faucets on fire. A few years back around this area, well, not necessarily right here, but around the nearby, I guess, near the PA border, stuff like that. There was a lot of supposedly people were relating it to fracking and all types of stuff. I don't know. I can't state one way or another, but I can state there was some funny smells coming out of people's faucets and stuff with wells, and there was a few cases where people were able to light a lighter or something as they turn their faucet on, and you'd see a little puff of flame come out. So kind of a little weird.
Yeah, it's kind of a problem.
Yeah,
That's a chicken or the egg thing, right? Are they fracking there because there's natural gas already? Or did they frack and the natural gas got into the water system?
yeah. It's hard to say. Hard to say.
But they wouldn't be fracking there if there wasn't already something to frack.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's got a large deposits of oil and natural gas. A lot of people don't realize the first actual oil derrick, like what we think of when we think of oil wells, was built in Pennsylvania, just north of Pittsburgh in Oil City. It's not surprising to be able to find that kind of stuff in Pennsylvania.
The whole thing sounds fracking ridiculous to me. There we go.
I don't think I've ever seen an oil well in Washington State. We've got hydroelectric and windmills, and had nuclear. I don't know if we still have any nuclear plants.
I don't think so.
They built one, and the Washington, I forget what it stands for, but basically the acronym was whoops, and they didn't finish building it because there was a whoops.
So it was appropriately named then, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the coffee fairy's out there, but I just ran out of Ariosa, so just putting that out there.
I don't think he watches my channel. This is not true. I'm just joking. He's commented on a couple of my videos before, but
Turns out we do have one. It's
I thought we might still have one.
Southeast Washington. Privately owned.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it at Hanford?
Richland.
So kind of near Hanford.
They have 6 cooling towers.
Yeah, see my new Glock?
Is that actually a Glock or is it a joke?
It's
a
it's a
keychain.
Glock.
Looks tiny.
Oh yeah, it's miniature, but it's pretty cool. Mag drops out, slide locks back, pull the thing apart and everything.
If you limp wrist it, does it jam?
You know, that's the only problem. I've had trouble finding ammo.
Rob G23 says, order your own coffee and stop killing flowers.
I don't know if
If
I
you
can
put them
afford
in
that
water,
stuff.
they don't die that fast.
And I've came up with something for the killing flower thing. So I started handcrafting flowers myself now. They'll last forever.
Well,
Yeah,
some flowers die every year anyway, so
Rob's trying to get over his psychosis where he has to kill plants whenever he sees them. You know, why do you think he's always telling us these salads? It's not because they're healthy for us, because he just wants to kill all the plants on the planet.
Well, Rich might know something about those flowers, but I don't know if he wants to share anything about that.
Yeah. It's in a vase on the mantle right now, and I don't feel like getting up to get it. So. Yeah, my wife liked it, so I guess that's what matters because you sent it for her. She hasn't tried the coffee yet, though.
Yeah, you guys are horrible. You know, I had to do something for these ladies.
Well, I done told you I'll buy her plants for outside that she can put in the ground that'll last longer, but I'm not buying cut flowers. It's a waste of
I
money.
need something just for the heck of it. You know,
She's got a garden, so you know, she can look at that every day without them wilting and dying. Yeah. Rose bush comes back every year. So.
I will still buy cut flowers now and again. My wife has lots of flowers out in the yard that she likes to tend, but now and again, you know, you buy some cut flowers and it makes her happy. So it's worth it to me.
yep.
Those are some nice pixels you got there.
You smush them together and they make a cat.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
What's the cat's name?
Shit.
It's an interesting name for a cat.
Wow, I'm having a brain fart here.
Did you steal it from your neighbor or something?
No, but I actually didn't know about this cat, but you can see how that worked out. Kizzy, that's what it's called, Kizzy. Don't ask me why, but that's
Yeah.
they went with.
Remember how little my daughter's cat used to be? Look at the size of him now. He's getting big.
Yeah.
And Foss would
Everyone's
like,
showing their pussy on their camera. Should I turn mine on?
Foss would like this cat's name. It's Tim.
What is it?
Tim.
I used to have an orange tabby that looked kind of like that. It was a great cat. I was out working on my truck, and I heard a car come down the road. We lived out kind of woods-ish, and car stops at the stop sign on the corner. I hear the door open and close, and then it takes off, and then I can hear it meow 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 meow. Cat was, God, had to be just a few weeks old, maybe.
Some messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and it was covered in fleas. I mean, I gave it 2-3 flea baths to get all the fleas off of it. And then I didn't probably feed it right. Gave it milk and soggy cat food, which, it's as a kitten isn't the best diet, but it worked. And I kept it in a box in my room. But every morning I would wake up and it would be on my chest. And I couldn't figure out how it was getting out of the box and then up up on the bed with me. And then I saw it. The box I had hand holes, and it squeezed out of the hand holes, and then would climb up the sheets and nuzzle, and then would try and feed by sucking on the folds of my shirt, which, I was not as fat as I was then, so I didn't have man boobs like I do now. But it would try and suckle. Yeah, it was a hellion where, like a lot of cats, middle of the night it would just go crazy, and you hear it running around.
Yeah. Doing laps. I don't know what the deal is like that. Like 2, 3 in the morning, they want to start doing laps around the house.
And one apartment we lived in, he would stand up on his back legs so he could look around the corner to look at the front door to see who was knocking. But I had to send him to live with my mom, and then he wandered off and never saw him again. I named him Chance because he got his second chance. Which is kind of funny now. Every time I hear somebody that names their kid Chance. I had a cat named Chance.
Oh, there could be a story behind that kid they'd rather not share. It's cool you took after it though. So
yeah, I was not a cat person, but I was, it upset me that somebody would do that, and then just the condition that he was in, it was awful. And that, that kind of changed my mind on cats. I'm still more of a dog person, but I've had a couple different cats in the past.
Our Siamese, when we lived, that's a couple of years ago, when we lived over at the other place before we moved here, we found him hanging on our kitchen screen. He was only about a month or so old. It was the day after we had to get rid of our one cat because he had kidney and issues and stuff, and we couldn't afford to get him the treatment, so we gave him to an older couple who went and tried getting him the help he needed. He ended up having to be put down anyway. But the next day, there's the Siamese hanging on the screen of the kitchen window, just meowing his little head off.
Was he Siamese if you please and Siamese if you don't please?
Possibly. But at that point, he was all white. He didn't have the Siamese markings yet because they don't get those until they get older.
Dad rescued a dog that was chained to a fence, house down the street, or apartment building, I should say, got raided. They arrested everybody, left the dog chained to the fence. So my dad called up the police, like, hey, you left the dog over here. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll send somebody. They never did. I called the animal control. They never shut up. So eventually he ended up going over grabbing the dog. It's a nice dog. Trying to think of what they call it. Black lab. It's real skittish and stuff, abused. He ended up contacting the animal control and pet places, and they wanted to charge him to take the dog. And he was like freaking out, like, well, this ain't my dog. What are you talking about? Like, you guys left the dog over there. Like, yeah, like, you're supposed to be authorities. You left the dog chained up. You know what I mean? And it was come long story short, they wouldn't take the dog without him paying for like shots and all types of stuff. So out of spite, he said, to hell with it. He'd rather deal with his doctor because he's allergic to dogs. So he ended up going to get something, and him and that dog became like best friends to the end of the dog. So he couldn't separate them. It was amazing. I actually got jealous The dog had a bank account for like the dentist, and all types of shit. I was like, "What the hell, Dad? Like, I think you took me to the dentist once. Like, what the hell? Like, what is this shit?" So I was
There's
a little jealous of a dog for a while.
Here's our other cat that we had, and our beagle that we had. We had the beagle, got him when he was a puppy, and he was kind of rambunctious. So we went down to the shelter and got a cat to play with him. And the we kept hearing all the people working at the shelter complaining about this one cat being a handful. So we took him, and from day one they were best friends. And he was a good cat. Would love to eat bread. When I would call him, he'd come, and they would eat out of the same, drink out of the same water. If it was cold, they'd both huddle together over the vent. And they passed on the same week. The dog had just worn out. He had neurological problems. He was 12, and the vet is like, yeah, there's nothing we can do for him. He's just worn out. And the cat had stomach cancer. So
Wow.
That's rough. 2 in 1 week.
It was a rough week for me because I loved them both. But it was with the dog. It was hard because I didn't want to let go. But so I started reading, and basically the solace. I found solace in that. The dog doesn't think about tomorrow. He only thinks about what's going on right now. So I had realized that he would wake up in pain. And so he was in pain all the time, and he wasn't living a good life. So it was kind of hard, but, had a really good vet, kind of talked with him too, and made the decision that, it was time. And then the cat was rough too, just because it was the same week. And then the vet's like, yeah, I like seeing you, but not under these circumstances. But yeah, so the beagle was, I cannot stand anybody that hurts a beagle just because I love beagles.
Yeah, animal abuse, period, really. So it's not a fan of anybody abusing anything or anybody just because you can. That's one of them things that just kind of gets me going.
223 DMRs out there. Good morning. Yeah, sorry to bring the chat down. I know it's a bummer of a story, but
I almost got myself in trouble a couple weeks ago driving back from work. Seen some kid with like a club, looked like he was beating on a little dog. So I was about to pull over, freak out. I was already hitting the brakes, and I got close enough, realized he was beating on a log with a club. So that looked like a little dog, kind of. So thankfully, I didn't get out and start screaming at somebody's kid and turn out to be an issue. But yeah, no, I'm just not a fan of that animal abuse stuff or things like that.
Oh, back before my wife got her LASIK surgery, she had Coke bottle glasses, and she came out of the bedroom and started yelling at the dining room table, and I couldn't figure out what she was yelling at. Well, her jacket was on the back of a chair, and she wasn't wearing her glasses, so she thought it was the dog trying to get up on the table. So for her, LASIK was I don't know if I'd say life changer, but it was a big improvement for her to have LASIK. I've thought about it, but my eyesight isn't quite bad enough. I mean, it would be helpful, but eventually you'll still need glasses again because your eyesight will keep deteriorating. And I don't want to pay for surgery just to be wearing glasses again, in a short period of time.
I have a theory.
Hmm.
If you do not go to the eye doctor, there's no proof that it's actually getting worse.
Well, there's proof, because that's one thing where
Just ignore
like
it.
when I switched to a phone with a bigger screen was because I'm doing this trying to read what's on my phone, and I realized, oh God, I got to do something about this.
I did get some reading glasses. Tried them out. I was like, oh, I guess I do have vision problems.
I'm sure you are aware, but you can enlarge the text on your phones and stuff. I assume you're aware of that.
Well, you can only do so much on the certain size screen, so.
Okay. Yeah, I understand in a sense. I'm just making sure. So I've had to have that conversation with my mom. So like, yeah, you just kind of do this, and she's like, "Oh, okay, all right, cool. Yeah, you're all set." Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I got a pair of bifocals, it was a while before I would wear them. But when I'm like here at the workbench working on small things, then I'll wear them so I can see what I'm looking at. The eye doctor, when I got, because I wear contacts at work, so I don't have to deal with glasses. When my face kind of gets sweaty and your glasses slide around. Had suggested maybe doing I forget what it's called, but you only have one contact, so that one eye will have see distance.
Nearsighted and then farsighted.
Yeah, but it made me nauseous. I couldn't handle it.
Just put an eye patch over one of them.
My lady just got a set of glasses she got for like driving at night and stuff like that. So she's felt a little funny about wearing them herself, which I yell at her about. So I think it looks good. So just trying to get her to throw them on when she comes to bed, but it isn't working out. It's like a stranger. Shh, don't tell nobody. She's sitting here laughing at me like an idiot. So I have that effect.
Well, there's probably stuff that you shouldn't talk about.
Oh, she's laughing. But yeah, I don't know. It came down to me. I don't know. I wouldn't be self-conscious. I think of glasses. I don't know. Maybe I don't need them at this point, but at some point I might. But if that time comes, I'm not too worried about it. I don't see it as that might be different when you're in elementary school or something like that. First, second grade, kids pick on everything about everybody about everything. But as an adult, I don't understand why people do have like a weird phobia or your bifocals. You didn't want to wear them. Why not? What's the matter? I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking? What was your thoughts of that? Why didn't you want to wear them?
Just admitted, you're admitting that you're getting older.
Well, sight. I mean, some people are born with bad sight, so things happen. In my case, I was informed I might have eye issues in the military because apparently my eyes are too good or something. So I don't know. They said 13, 18, basically my processor might burn out quicker than others. So that it's not really the eye, it's the processing of it from what they explained to me. So basically, as I get older, I might, I'm more susceptible to coming up with eye issues from what they stated. I don't know. So
that's odd.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
Did they experiment on you right after they told you this?
No, but I did have people like keep my molars, and they freaked out like that was some kind of miracle or something. I asked if they could keep it. I don't know. I'm kind of weird. I guess I got like bear teeth or something. Like where the normal Y, like everybody, it kind of Y's out straight down. Mine goes left and right. So they actually have to cut my teeth and then remove one half and then the other half. So it's luckily why I still have them. I mean, I've been
Were,
punched a
were you
lot.
were you genetically engineered? Is that what you're
I
telling
have
us?
no idea, man. No idea, but yeah, I'll take it. So, but yeah, I was, one time I can't believe I didn't bust my tooth out with a. I was working on a car doing something, and a ratchet slipped off, and man, I blasted myself in the mouth, like blasted, like my whole mouth was numb. I was scared to even go look, and not even a chip. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lady said, "Man of Steel." That's true too.
G23 was talking to Ozzy and said he thinks it's a school teacher fetish. When I went to meet my
Could be.
my wife's parents back in Japan, I asked her if she still had her schoolgirl outfit, if it still fit, but she refused to show it. So I don't know.
Here's the Siamese one.
Typical guy.
Yeah, he's sure that's the Siamese one. He like the day he was hanging on our screen. See, he was just a little guy back then.
Wow, yeah, I would have never guessed that's a Siamese cat.
Yeah, they're not born with the markings. They get them as they get older. The markings are actually enzymes that color their fur. Wherever their fur's the dark color like that is where their body will get the coldest. So they live in a semi-tropical to cold weather area naturally. So they develop the enzyme thing where like around their eyes and stuff because that's where their body temperature would be the lowest from the natural elements. It gets darker to absorb and hold in the heat.
It's interesting. And for those just joining us, good morning and welcome to the Sunday morning cat chat.
So where's Gary?
He's at NRAM.
Yeah, he's in
Okay.
Houston.
Here's actually he sent me a picture of him at NRAM.
Is he protesting the NRA
No,
outside?
He's at the planet. He's on planet Houston. He's looking for Superman.
So here's Gary at NRAM.
I don't see him.
He's hiding behind the sign.
No, he's
I
in
forgot
front
he
of
was
the sign.
tiny.
Oh,
There he is.
So it looks like he's having fun.
That's pretty good. Somebody photoshopped that, I assume. I mean, they even got the shadow of it in there. That's pretty good.
Oh, there was let me see if I can find it. Was a video of him walking around. It was in Houston, right?
Yeah, Houston.
Yeah. So him kind of walking around the streets of Houston.
Give him the bird. Give him the bird.
It looks like he's having fun.
Breaking the law.
It's
So
a
what
shame
is
the
dealers
video.
crossing roads all the time?
It's a shame the video cut there because now we don't know why the chicken crossed the road.
There's probably Chick-fil-A on the other side.
Oh no, he'd been running the other direction.
Oh, he gives out Chick-fil-A gift cards. So maybe he's in some kind of chicken death cult.
Maybe it's a murder suicide
It-
thing.
I just won one of his packages. Didn't include the chicken card this time, so I'm a little disappointed, but it's all right. I don't even have a Chick-fil-A, but got a friend that travels a lot where they do, so he's been bugging me about buying a card off me or something. I was like, I don't even have the card. I didn't get a card, so now I can't. I got to be quiet when I say I won something from Gary because I got another person expecting to get a chicken card from it. So.
Guy in the comments is out there says, so we're just going to gloss over the fact that Rob came out to us that he's a cyborg.
No, Vanessa Kitty's the cyborg. Rob's a Windigo. It's got all the goofy teeth.
The Winnebago. He's travels the country.
No, Rob's afraid to leave New York.
Yeah, sometimes I've wondered myself. Weird.
Oh, I prefer to stick around home. I do, I like to visit other places, but I don't like to be away from home.
I love traveling myself. It's nothing like sleeping in your own bed, but exploring, checking things out. So it's one of my, I don't know, things that kind of gets me when everybody, fly here, fly there. It's like, why fly? You could drive, get sidetracked, go off, find something you never expected. The traveling's half the adventure. But
No,
I know
see,
you guys
you
roll.
fly.
You just want to handle your business and be done. I know.
You fly because you don't have to drive the 20 hours that you won't do to go to Nebraska for Thunder on the Prairie, Rob.
Yeah, 20 some odd hours is too much, man. I got to start a job. Technically, I could start today, but I won't. But probably Monday, Tuesday, and that's too long.
And that's why you fly.
Ah,
Yeah, my wife was kind of getting upset because I had 31 days of vacation that, haven't been using. So we're gonna take a trip this year and use up some of the vacation, but probably not all of it.
where are you thinking of going?
Leavenworth in Washington. It's a tourist trap. It's a Bavarian town in the mountains.
So what do you guys do? I mean, what do you enjoy? Do you movies, hiking? I mean, I realize you have kids, but we used to hike with our kids, do all types of stuff. What type of stuff do you do as a family on vacation?
I don't know. For like Leavenworth, there's stuff you can do. There's like tubing on the river, mini golf, lots and lots of little shops. That's basically what the town is built around.
Big time.
For vacations, honestly, I usually sleep. My wife and kids do whatever they want, and then I'll sleep.
Okay. I guess everybody looks at them differently. So we kind of have like two forms ourselves in one sense. The lady loves us to do something all the time, schedule packed, da-da-da-da-da. And me, myself, my idea is like a cabin in the woods with a four-wheeler and no agenda. But we usually settle, nice place with a hot tub. But everybody's got their different views of vacation, I guess. So
Gotta be careful with them cabins in the woods. You end up with a bunch of monsters attacking you.
yeah, they better be careful. After a couple drinks, I become the monster.
When we go on vacation, we'll have a loose itinerary, but nothing strict. Otherwise, it just
It's like work.
I mean, part of it is me because I don't like being late. I get upset if we're late. So if we have an itinerary and there's places that we plan to be, if we're not there when we had planned to be there, then I get grumpy. Even though I know it doesn't matter. It's just the fact that we were supposed to be there. It's on the schedule to be there at this time, and then we didn't make that time, and it'll bug me. So we decided, just we want to kind of do this stuff, and then we'll figure out how once we get there to work it in.
Yeah.
We were just going to a Seattle Mariners game up in Seattle, and I like to be there early, and we were running late. My wife gets in the car, I start backing up, and she starts yelling at me because she was only halfway in the car with the car door open.
Good God.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
That works well.
So
punctuality is respectful, but yeah, okay. You gotta at least let her close the damn door. I mean, come on, man.
I didn't always used to be that way. When I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do or be in life, I was drift from this to that. And then at one point I figured out I want to be, this is what I want for my life. This is how I want to be. And then I just cannot stand being late. It used to be where we used to live. It was a 90-minute drive up to the stadium, which I made in under an hour one time because we were late. And when we got there, my wife was pissed.
God damn.
It was a lot slower drive home. Yeah, Mike White's saying he's the same way.
Yeah, I think vacation, you're not supposed to really put pressure like that on yourself, in my opinion. Yeah, that's why I don't like the our itinerary, our schedule, or whatever myself. Just for that reason, we've just ran into people at the weirdest places and just had a good time. Yeah, and it's like I'd rather, that's what vacation's about. I'd rather hang out, have a good time than rush to go see something and off to the next thing. I don't know. It's all about having fun. So, I think you gotta de-stress yourself for vacation, man. That's so that's the whole point.
Well, that's what we sat down and then decided not to have that strict schedule. That helped a lot. After we decided that, our next vacation was a lot better. Everybody had fun.
I freak out with directions. I'll have my navigator giving me directions, and once in a while, it's gotten to the point where we'll run off 2-3 systems because you can't trust one. And basically, I hate it when we're given wrong turns on the freeway or whatever, or toll booths and all that crap, and I got to swing back through and all this stuff, and so I start tweaking out pretty good myself. So other than that, it's not a big deal. It's just
Did Rob just admit to using meth on the air?
No, I don't mean it like that. I just
Oh, you said you're tweaking, man. Come on.
Well, not meth, just freaking out. I freaked out. The ones that were at this damn toll booth, man. I dropped going somewhere down by Florida. Like every 2 miles, there's another freaking toll. Like I ran out of change. Then we run up to one that's like exact fare only. Like I didn't have, all I had was larger bills. So I'm sitting here like freaking out, searching my backpack. Cars are honking and shit. Like what the hell? I'm like, cops are coming. That was just horrible, and ended up just having to drive through. They mailed the thing back to my house or whatever, so it wasn't a big deal. But me being paranoid as I am, of course, as soon as we get wherever we go, I'm going
You're
buying stamps, sending shit out for mail, try to mail in a payment like instantly, because the way my luck goes, they'll say, I never paid it or this or that. And the next thing you know, I'll have a freaking warrant for my arrest or something stupid over a $2 damn toll. So it's just the way things go for me. So that basically stressed out part of my trip. So
The GPS was set for no tolls.
Uh,
Because of an accident.
MC is going to go do some
uh,
yard work. So thanks for hanging out. And I wanted to say hey to Bernie Sanchez. Good morning. Guy in the comments says cash is king, coin is queen. I still believe cash is king.
definitely.
If a payment system goes down, you can still pay with cash.
Yep. You break down in the middle of the night, you can offer somebody cash and they'll drive you home or to the store or whatever the heck you need. Whip out a card and they're going to be like, I'll take you to the ATM. Uh-huh. Cash is king. And you get better deals with cash.
Yeah, I've had, I can't remember where it was, but somewhere that I would buy stuff where the guy would always be like, I'd pay cash and he'd be like, if you want a receipt, it's this much. If you don't want a receipt, it's this much.
Yep. I've seen that at several places. Just make sure your stuff's done right before you say, I don't need the receipt. Because I got screwed once too. So, but normally 99% of the time it works out good. But one time I did that and I got stuck where they blew the Reese's out of the back of some bearings I had them press, which I normally would do myself, but I figured, they're the professionals and I got other stuff to do, blah blah blah. So drop it off the shop and they destroy my bearings. So as a matter of fact, that was right before that Florida trip. So then I had to go down and pay twice as much to buy them at the auto store and press them in myself in the driveway so we could take off that next morning. So horrible. You pay somebody to do a job and they just don't do it. They don't do it right. So, but that was a cash thing. But usually I've come across that same thing. So you don't want a receipt, cash is the way they'll take cash and they don't even hit you with the tax half the time. I know people are like, evil guy skipping out on tax, but personally, I don't agree with half the taxes we got, especially New York State. So tell me what you want. I'll live with it.
Well, you're paying what you were charged. So what happens after that is up to the retailer.
And this is why Rob does not make a good attorney.
No argument.
Don't take legal advice from Rob. He'll have you up on embezzlement charges.
Yeah, I kind of listening to that one, I wish I had been on it. Your Honor, my lawyer is incompetent.
That was a kangaroo court, man. It was rigged from the beginning.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Rich did a mock trial for, was it CRS?
Yeah, I think so.
And Rob Rob was one of the lawyers for CRS, but
I just got myself arrested too, I guess. So
Yes, you did.
I got a comment says I spend my money on dumb shit. I don't need the government spending my money on dumb shit.
there you go. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it is where you guys are at, but we get taxed to death here, it seems like. So, like I've noticed, online with people talking about just registration for your vehicles and stuff, where you get a plate and that's your plate. Like, oh, not here. Yeah, you got to pay to get your plate, pay to keep your plate, and pay to turn your plate in. How the hell does that work? Like, ridiculous.
How? What's the pay to turn it in?
Yeah, you got to give them money to hand it back to them.
I mean,
like
we in Washington
fee or something. They tell you. So
in Washington, we have high taxes, and similar to New York because they want to be kind of like California and New York, and so we have sales tax is kind of high, gas tax is high, cigarette tax is high. The liquor tax is ridiculous. There's 2 taxes on liquor that the state charges. The sales tax and then the size tax, the liter tax. So depending on what size it is, you get another tax put on it. For cars, if you get a different plate, they just tell you to destroy your old plate.
Now, if you go buy a used vehicle, you got to pay tax on that when you register and put it on the road?
Yeah.
Okay. That's another thing that kind of bugs me. Like, car was purchased new and tax was paid on it. So why every time that it transfers do they get tax again on the same vehicle?
Yeah, for Washington, it used to be based on what you paid, but the state eventually figured out that people were lying on what they paid and started going by Blue Book.
Double receipt thing, right?
Yeah, because there were plenty of used cars that I bought that weren't running when I bought them, so they were very cheap.
Mm-hmm. Here it's common where somebody will write your receipt for $500, $1,200 or whatever, even though you paid $5,000. It's just typical. And you go pay the taxes on that $500 or $1,200 or whatever. So that's a normal thing here. But I think everybody, including grandma, is tired of getting hosed by the taxes and government around here. So it's just the way it is. Unless you buy something brand new, then you're stuck with their full tax plus the luxury tax, all that crap.
Gunmetal Guy USA asked a question. A coworker wants a gun. He goes down list of manufacturers. He says Springfield. He says he's heard not to get Springfield. I know the gist of it, but give me a Cliff Notes version to avoid a long legal version. So
Cliff Notes.
I will say first off, I don't own a Springfield. I don't plan on buying Springfield, but I don't care if anybody else buys a Springfield. That's up to them. So Rich, you want to give a thumbnail view of why people hate Springfield?
Well, there was a bill in Illinois that was going to screw over local gun dealers and whatnot. Springfield signed off on it to give themselves a cutaway where it didn't affect them, and the law ended up passing. Springfield claims that they had no part in it, but there's numerous pieces of evidence that show they did. One of them being their PR guy specifically talking to the Illinois legislature members who were sponsoring this bill, and his phone number was one of Springfield's phone numbers in the office, and Rock River Arms was also involved. So there's your small, short answer on that.
besides that, I'm not a fan of the way they market themselves as Springfield Armory, like they're the original, when they're not. And I think they overprice their Croatian import guns and market them as like you got an American flag on the advertisement. The gun wasn't even made here.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
like that.
That was the other thing. They were importing guns, putting their name on it, and making it sound like it was an American gun.
Yep.
But again, I don't care if somebody wants to buy one. Good for
I
them.
don't like the guns personally. Like some of the older ones, don't get me wrong, like the M1 or something like that's different, but they're modern handguns. I'm just not personally a fan of, and that whole grip zone thing and all that stuff. I mean, it's like firearms for dummies or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's almost like you're insulting the person that's going to buy it in a sense. But on top of that, I mean, the bad press on everything, it's kind of sketchy. If for some reason my friend had one and I just shot the gun really well and better than mine or whatever, I'd probably look for a used one. I ain't gonna lie. If you hit with it, if it fits you right, I mean, I'd say go for it. But I'd probably be better if you weren't buying it brand new, if possible. So as far as supporting, good versus bad or whatever, however you look at it, but other than that, I don't have much opinion on them. Like I said, I think they're kind of goofy, and the practices aren't ideal. But if that's a gun that's gonna save your kid, then by all means.
And Buck brings up the Canic. Canic is kind of the other one where they're supposed to be good guns. I've never shot a Canic, but since they're Turkish, a lot of people don't like that tie to Turkey. That's another one where I don't care. I'm not interested in Canics mainly because they're striker fired, and other than my Glock 20, I prefer hammer fired. And that's just a personal choice. That's my choice, and I don't care. I'm perfectly fine if anybody else makes different choices. Gun-toting pacifist, good morning. You were saying something, Rob?
I was gonna say I'd probably buy a Canic. It's probably not ideal, but when you really look at things, our government and all types of stuff. I mean, people support terrorism every day if they buy the cheap gas around town. So, not saying it's ideal or great, but I don't know. From what I hear, the Canon guns are pretty good. So, good price. They run good. What are you gonna do with it? Are you going around to commit terrorism, or are you fighting against it? So a lot of people could say AKs are kind of the same boat where, it's a peasant rifle, it's this or that, but yet we got a huge AK following out there. So there was plenty of times to this day people are shooting at us with AKs, but yet we support AKs. So I don't know. I guess I haven't seen, I don't relate to the Canic hate, I guess. Maybe I don't know enough. I don't know.
I'm not into AKs either. And part of that is just growing up in the Cold War, and I understand what they are, I understand what they can do. I'm just not interested. Same as with Nazi guns. I don't have no real interest. The exception is the P-38, which for some reason, I would think about the P-38, but other than that, I just don't, doesn't interest me.
What about Nazi guns from Argentina?
No.
Bursa?
No. I looked at a Bursa.
Walther?
Um, I looked at a Bursa and it felt nice in the hand, but I know they had trouble in the past with quality, so I got the M&P 380 Easy instead.
You mean the quality of their pot metal wasn't up to
Yeah.
standard? Yeah.
Gun Toting Pacifist is saying his AK is 100% American made.
100%? Seems unlikely. Unlikely, but
Gunmetal Guy USA saying it's kind of hard being idealistic driving a Hyundai, chatting on an iPhone. We all have made concessions that we may or may not be proud of. It's just a way of life.
Yeah, that's a good comment right there. That's why I was just thinking similar. Yeah, everybody with all these devices and everything these days, most of the stuff seems, not most, but a lot of it's not American in a sense. So it's definitely hypocritical, but people got to make their choices, I guess. So yeah, everybody's got different lines.
the nice thing about guns, though, there are a bunch of domestic U.S.-made guns as options. So you really don't have to buy foreign-made if you don't feel like it. If you want a domestically made cell phone, good luck.
I got into it on one of the tech channels I watched with somebody in the comment section because they insisted that China has nothing to do with CPUs. I was like, really? Have you ever read the heat spreader on your CPU? He's like, I got an AMD. It's not made in China. It's made in Taiwan. I was like, no, your CPU is not made in Taiwan. I told him, take your cooler off, read the heat spreader on the top of your CPU after you clean off all the dried on thermal paste, and it'll say diffused in Taiwan, diffused in the United States, made in China.
Yeah, that's a. There's lots of stuff that are made in America, but their parts are from elsewhere. So, even if it has that made in America stamp on it, it was assembled here, but it could all be from Chinese parts or there is unless you want to live in a cabin in the woods, there's not a lot of getting around it.
And then you got to watch out for
perfect.
monsters. Whenever you're in the cabin in the woods, you got to watch out for those monsters.
Well, just don't open the book with bound in leather, human leather,
No,
with the face
wrong,
on it.
Wrong movie.
Oh,
You've never seen Cabin in the Woods?
no.
Oh, you got to see that movie. That movie's awesome.
It's a pretty good movie.
I've seen Little Cabin in the Prairie.
That's a Muslim one in Canada, right? Oh, that's Little House on the Prairie you're talking about. Little Cabin in the Prairie is a Muslim show from Canada. A Muslim family moves out to like Edmonton or somewhere out that way, Alberta, where it's like the prairies up in Canada, and they're living in like a small town, and people are picking on them and stuff. It's a pro-Muslim show from Canada. What do you expect, right?
Yeah, I was thinking of I think the first book is Little House. Is it Little House or Little Cabin in the Big Woods?
I don't know.
And then Little House on the Prairie was the second book. Gun Toting Pacifist says they have a town in China called USA. So they stamp made in USA on certain products.
Oh, is that how it works?
That's funny. Wouldn't shock me.
Wouldn't it say made in USA, comma, China?
No, they're trying to trick people. They don't want you to know it's made in China.
Yeah,
Well,
but we
they
have
actually-
import laws about manufacturers stating where stuff is made.
So that could be a true statement because they actually have they've mimicked a lot of things. as far as like the White House, Pentagon, you can actually find video out there of them like running assaults on this stuff, and you'll do a double take wondering where it is really. And it's like mini Washingtons or whatever, you know what I mean? They have even aircraft carriers on a railroad track that they practice on, so they can move the carrier up and down the railroad track as if it was in a different place. I mean, I know it doesn't completely simulate, but they do have identical stuff to us to train against and on. So, but you can look up. So it's kind of a little eerie looking at some of this stuff. Same thing with towns. We have similar here, different places that we do training as well, but they do the same thing. Like you would think you were, somebody put a bag over your head and let you loose, you would think you were in America. So it wouldn't shock me if they did have a town called USA or something like that, or Providence, whatever they call it, and took advantage of that as well.
Is the town full of obese people though? Because that might be the dead giveaway.
That's messed up.
As a quick aside, I've heard on a few different chats people talking about the new rifle for the Army and how China has developed titanium armor that would defeat it, which they may have, but China is not giving titanium armor to all their soldiers. That is not the communist doctrine for. It's not their strategy. So they may give it to elite troops, but the rank and file is not getting titanium armor.
No.
Just use white phosphorus ammo. We can set their entire outfit on fire. Right?
Possible.
You're not doxing yourself, are you, G23? What are you doing there?
Only gonna dox some guy in New York.
Oh crap!
Are you unboxing? You want me to put you up on a big screen here? You got the. I just want to make sure you got pertinent information covered.
Yes, I do have both our addresses, so that no one will see.
All right, you're going big, so whatever happens from here on is not my fault.
It's all Rob's fault. Possibly.
Oh.
Well, let me see it.
This is hard for me and flower for his G23's woman.
Uh-huh.
And we know that it was
Yeah.
Rob.
That's,
Say anything, Rich?
that's the same card.
I know. Rob sending me, I mean, look at, this is like one of those I love you letters. The sunflowers are red, some sunflowers are blue. I bought your lady a rose. So screw you.
That's good. That's good. That's a good one, Rob.
Thank you. Two of those out. Somebody didn't want to share.
Oh my god.
I don't know what my wife did with the card. I showed her the card and she put it somewhere. I don't know where she put it.
Well, hopefully your lady's smiling. I'm thinking of you.
She's laughing. You can hear her.
Sonny Guns is out there. Good morning. Ah,
And despite what Dan says, I do like flowers.
oh,
Oh, good to know.
I just don't waste money on dead flowers.
Well, hey,
how's it
man, you can
going?
get creative. I mean, some asshole in New York did. I'm sure you can. Oops, sorry.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
How you doing, pacifist?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for the link, bro.
Oh, no problem. So let me put. I guess I'll throw that up there. So we'll do a giveaway at the halfway point and enter hashtag Wandering Gary.
Wait, did I enter? Did I? Can I still enter even though I came into the chat?
Yep, everybody's eligible.
All right, I was about to pop out.
So we'll do that at top of the hour. We'll do a drawing. Here, while we're talking about it, let me get myself to the bigness here. So we've got a sparkly Stormtrooper patch.
Shockmaster helmet.
Pretty much. FUD Free Zone patch. An overnight sticker. And just so everybody knows, in the future, these will be better. I was still learning how to use the software, so the overnight is kind of hard to read. Sorry about it. So everybody who gets them now is getting chipped, because everybody in the future will get better ones at some point. And then the regular DMFOS patch, along with the Pocket Constitution and other stuff that is the normal giveaway set. So just enter hashtag Wandering Gary out in the side chat. And we'll do the drawing in about half an hour.
Handcrafted cards, handcrafted roses.
You're a
Serious
craftsman.
business right there.
So what have you been up to, pacifist?
I took my niece to the range yesterday. I just actually published a video. She's active in the military, the Army National Guard here down in Massachusetts. Now that I'm in New Hampshire, yeah, we took out the AR, the AK, a couple 22s, rifle and pistol, and some 9mm pistols and a 380, and just went to town and had a blast. It was awesome.
That's cool.
Did I get gypped, bro?
No, because you got the drawing. You got the hand-drawn patch.
Yeah, the hand-drawn one in crayon is absolutely fantastic. Actually, let me go grab that to show it off. I've been meaning to get a frame for it. I haven't got the frame yet for it, but it's awesome. And my daughter's really impressed by it as well. She's 7, and she's a crayon expert. She called them color-ons for the longest time, and my 4-year-old son calls them color-ons now.
Oh, I had made a joke that I don't have any patches, so I send out hand-drawn pictures. And so Pacifist said, well, I didn't get a picture. So I sent him a picture.
Did the rest of you guys get pictures?
Nah, I didn't get one.
Me neither.
You didn't ask, and now it's too late. It's one of
I
a
know.
kind.
Pacifist is special. We see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
No, he was just first.
Well, he's special too. So. If he were here, he'd freely admit it.
Is that showing up?
It's kind of, there you go.
I mean, it's one of a kind. It's definitely going to go in a really nice frame. I have it between two. Actually, the things you sent it in between. I've kept it there to kind of preserve it. And this is from my expert color-on drawer at home. So you're in good company, bro.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing where I don't know if I could do another good one. You know, I shot my wad.
No, don't do another one. I want to be the only one that has this. So one day I can sell it for, a couple $1,000,000.
It's an analog NFT.
Mm-hmm.
So has anybody else been out shooting lately?
Nope.
Haven't been yet. Not lately. Since the last time I threw a video up, unfortunately. But do plan on going pretty soon here. I think I've got enough jugs now to match everything up. So, because I was going to use water jugs in this and probably another one here. So I did a poll and everybody but like one or two people definitely wanted more water jugs. So, so I plan on getting out there soon, very soon. Maybe in the next day or two. Could be today.
It's got every week because there's a video I keep wanting to shoot, so I need to go get some range video. But every time I try, the couch will grab me and doesn't let go. And, so I don't make it out to the range.
Yeah, that sucks. You gotta be able to overpower that couch, man. So whether it's the range or just out for a walk or whatever it is, but yeah, don't want to get stuck in a bad rut.
Guy in the comments is asking, are plugs the best ear pro?
Earplugs,
Yeah,
like the foam ones.
Kind of in addition to that, he says muffs are cool, but you don't get a good cheek weld. I don't wear earplugs. I keep them. I do take some with me. They're on my range bag. I've got a little container that clips on, just in case. But I can never get them to stay in. They always work their way out. So
I like the ones with the band that goes around your neck.
Yeah, I've
like
never
Hickok
tried
45 wears.
I don't know. In the past, I can say that I've used 22 long rifle. You just shove them in your ears. They work.
I don't have too much of a problem lining up with earmuffs on. I don't, do like a long range setup or anything like that in a sense. So maybe there's a little bit of a difference there, but normal shooting, the ear muffs don't tend to bother me at all. I'd prefer the muffs over the little plugs if possible. Just I think, you know, whether even if you work construction or whatever, stuffing stuff in your ear consistently, it just isn't a good idea. It tends to can create problems with your earwax, especially hot days, things like that. You know, it seems like nothing, but down the road could lead to problems with people. Some people have issues setting them in their ears. Their ear canal or whatever you call it's different sizes. So kids and whatnot, you'll have issues, different earplugs, or everybody will say, "Oh, they're in," but they're halfway dangling out of their ear, like they, you know, they're not in properly. So a lot of times, I don't know. I like the ear muffs, but I've also ran earplugs, you know, for years. It can be done. They do have rubber ones that have like little disc on them. Last ones I got like that were from the military, but they work quite well. And you can just wash them off too. They're like a reusable instead of disposable with like a little necklace thing. Yeah, I think best is probably on the individual. I mean, if you can't seat the foam ones well or have trouble with them, then it's probably not best. You know, comfort, longevity. Also with the muffs, you can also, like, you know, for example, the Razor Sims that I have, that'll also help you hear somebody trying to get your attention behind you, or maybe a range officer or something, like, you know, depending where you shoot, things like that. You can still easily hear commands. So you can actually hear better than you might be able to hear naturally. So that's an advantage. But best, I think, is you know, it's like asking somebody the best handgun for them. I think it's more of an individual thing, long story short.
I worked at the airport for just under 8 years, and we had plugs and muffs available to us, but they would preach us to wear the muffs because when you have plugs in, the outside of your ear still absorbs a lot of noise, and the plugs did create problems over years with guys, like Rob was saying. Inserting them in your ear, it compresses the wax to the point where people started having problems and would have to, you know, get it fixed by a doctor and whatnot. But they did preach the muffs because your outside ear, even though with the plugs in, it still will absorb a lot of noise.
Yeah, I've got the Howard Late Impact Pros. I love them. They're the electronic ones, so you can hear what's going on around you, and you don't have to shout if you're with somebody else. You can talk normally. When I worked at the shipyard, when I would use earplugs, you know, scrunch them up, jam them in there, and within half an hour, one or the other would fall out. I could never get them to stay.
I honestly recommend having both with you, especially if you get in anything louder, or some of these ranges where they're metal sides. Like, they remind me of like horse stables or something like that. But basically, you know, little carport, metal buildings and stuff. It might be beneficial to run both at times, basically. So I'm sure, you know, I'm probably not the only one, but in some cases it's really ideal. You know, plus you have the option depending what you're doing.
You can explain what you're showing there, G23.
Walker's Electronic Ear Pro, Razor, Slims.
Yeah. I didn't get a fancy case with mine.
Mine even has the little carry strap, so you don't even have to. I mean, nice lanyard.
Ozzy Osbourne says he usually uses electronic muffs unless he's shooting a rifle, then he uses plugs. Sunny Guns says, I like electronic muffs too, but they get in the way with some rifles and shotguns. That's true. That's one of the complaints that I've heard. And you can go with lower profile.
I'd say that's the reason why I like the Walker Slims is because you can get down on them.
There are lower profiles which are kind of made to make that easier. You don't get the same amount of sound
Decibel
protection.
reduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't. These are what I used to use, but I don't use them anymore.
I think that brings something up. A lot of these earplugs, they have a limit or an amount that they will reduce, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're safe depending on the sound you're actually next to. So again, that's where double protection may be beneficial if you truly care of your hearing. Even a lot of the electronic muffs, if you read the fine prints, they're only catching so much. They'll do a reduction, but if it's something really, really extreme, that final reduction still might be at an unsafe level for prolonged periods of time. So that's, again, where double kind of comes in as a factor. So just something to consider. You can figure out, Google, like a gunshot DB, oh, Jesus, excuse me, I'm getting all screwed up here. That's how loud a gunshot is, or what caliber, things like this. And it's actually, there's some information out there on different size barrels and stuff, basically to get an idea if what you're shooting lines up with your protection level. So
you also have to be careful on how they rate it, because there's two different numbers that different companies will use. So make sure you know if they rate it a certain number, what that number actually means.
Yeah, if you're shooting something like a Barrett 50 cal, I can attest to this personally. You definitely want plugs and muffs in. Even with plugs and muffs in, if you're around that rifle when it's going off, your ears are still going to be ringing.
Gun website says, I prefer to repeal the NFA. Then everyone can use inexpensive, unregulated suppressors.
Yeah, well, even then, depending on what caliber you're using, you're still going to have some kind of ear protection.
I agree with him.
I can say my 300 Blackout with subsonic is ear safe. And fun. Wicked fun.
I shoot the 1022 with 22 long instead of 22 long rifle, and it's almost suppressor quiet. It's air safe.
That's what 22 shorts are good for. I mean, you put 22 short in a suppressed 22. That's the only firearm that's actually Hollywood suppressor quiet.
Cowgirl Candace brings up revolvers. Suppressors are nice, but got to cover my ears to shoot most revolvers.
Yeah.
Have you seen that video of the guy that's got the suppressor on his revolver? He's got it like C-clamped on to cover the gap in the cylinder.
That's Pat RPG.
Yeah. That's what was nice about the Russian Nagant revolver. It actually seals the chamber, so you can actually properly suppress that one. But that's the only good thing about that revolver.
Iron Roads out there. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, he's got the suppressor on the barrel, and then to cover the gap in the cylinder, it's got some kind of cover that's C-clamped on just because he couldn't figure out a way to attach it. I don't know if he's changed. I saw that a few months ago. Happened across it. Sonny Guns.
That was Pat RPG or RMP, something like that. He he was working with a company that's actually making a deal so that you could run a suppressor on revolvers. So that's like a prototype that he was doing a video on.
Senegun says, in certain situations, I'll turn off my electronic earmuffs. Example being even with the muzzle of another person's rifle. Not unsafe, just how it happens to shoot from the cliff where we shoot. Baron SVG had to take off, but thanks for jumping in this morning. Appreciate it.
Yep, later.
I think another reason be great to have both with you, like, you know, range bag or whatever the situation, hunting or whatnot, is temperature. You know, if you're sitting somewhere for a long time, ready to take a shot with muffs on, and it's really hot out, it's going to get uncomfortable after a while. So for if you're going long periods, it might be nice to at least, I don't know, give your head a break and pull them off for a little bit, but still have some protection available. So, you know, just something to consider. Like going out for just, you know, spend an hour at the range and shoot or whatever, in your convenience or whatever, you know, it's a little different, I guess, than if you were hunting or something else. But that could definitely beneficial to at least even, you know, get some air around you a little bit when it's really hot out. So it's one thing I've noticed with those muffs, they, for long periods, they can kind of get on your comfort, you know, be a little uncomfortable for long periods. Short time, doesn't seem to be a problem, but they do sell like gel pads for the muffs and different things like this as well. But really, you know, I don't think anything really works like a breeze personally. So as far as cooling, but as far as pressure, they do offer different things for that. But just something to keep in mind. But if you're not looking to dump a crap load of money and time, you know, and just pick up a pair of muffs and pick up the sets of disposables, keep both with you, and I think you're pretty well covered.
Yeah. Iron Road's got a question out there. He's asking, wouldn't the cylinder gap make the crack instead of the muzzle? You get it from both the cylinder gap and the muzzle with the revolver, which is why it's extremely hard to suppress one of those. And the way they overcame that with the Nagant revolver, I don't know if you've ever seen one, the cylinder actually moves forward and then it seals the chamber so that you don't get the muzzle crack coming out of the cylinder gap, because there essentially isn't one once that revolves and fully locks itself down. The Nagant revolver, engineering wise, is really interesting firearm, the way they did it, but in practice it's not a very good gun. But you know, just from an engineering standpoint, it is.
Yeah, I've got a picture. I don't know if I have it on it's not on this computer. I don't know if I have it on my phone, but where you can see the fire coming out of the cylinder and the barrel of my Taurus.
Yeah. It's also why you don't shoot thumbs forward with a revolver. You'll blow your thumb right off. I don't know if you've ever seen when they were testing that on Mythbusters and they built the hand out of the chicken bones and just blew the hand completely apart.
How much better? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just babbling.
How much better would a revolver be if you can get it to where it locked up? I mean, I realize, you know, they shoot fine without it, but anybody recently tried, you know, getting it so it does have a cam or something and locks up tight for that? I mean, not just for that, but suppression. But you would think
you'd probably get a lot more out of the round if you weren't losing gas back there. You would think.
Yeah, you would think, but the only one I know of is the Nagant
Or
revolver.
two.
That's the only one I know of that they ever tried that with. I'm sure there's probably somebody that actually tried it, but the only one that got like any kind of publicity around it is the Nagant revolver.
That looks just like wasted money to me right there. Wasted energy.
That's 357. It's a Taurus 65.
Yeah, one of the ways they try and overcome that's by having the forcing cone, which makes the gap a little bit more narrow, but still doesn't eliminate it altogether. But yeah, the Nagant revolver is extremely complicated.
Would it be? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking it through, but it seems like you could just, put some type of cam connected or something off the trigger or part of it, so when you're pulling it, hammer or whatever, it would push the
it's basically how
cylinder forward, lock it in place, fire, you release, and it would just keep repeating. Like
right. That's essentially how the Nagant revolver.
So
works,
why has nobody done this with a modern revolver?
Well, you're adding complexity.
Yeah, it's overly complicated, and it wasn't real successful with the Nagant revolver. Probably why it never took off. They broke easy. It's just not. It wasn't worth it in the long run.
Seems like something maybe somebody should look into. I don't know. Maybe not worth it. Maybe not dollar wise, but performance wise, it seemed like you could carry a smaller package with a bigger result, and have the benefits of going suppress if you'd like to. So I don't know. I'm not a revolver guy, but it seems like I think they'd sell. I don't know if they're reasonably priced.
Does Glock sell revolvers, Rob? Does Glock make revolvers?
I have no idea. It's this G23's department. Would you guys be interested if Taurus came out with a revolver like that for $700 or something? $600? I don't know.
It would be interesting from an engineering standpoint, but again, that's going to be so overly complicated. And if it's done just like the Nagant one, it's going to be easy to break and whatnot. So
it's way overcomplicated, but I mean, think of all types of stuff. I mean, you're not trying to do that much more than what's already going on. You're sliding that forward a little bit. Say there would be some type of spring or something there, which you're already in.
You got to look up the Nagant revolver, because everything you're saying is basically how the Nagant revolver worked, and it wasn't very successful. I mean, they were around for a while because it was the Soviet Union that was making them, and the Soviets would make anything because they were basically using slave labor. But
not a lot of Model Ts running around either, but a modern Ford ain't that bad. I mean, you're right. Dependability is an issue, but they run.
Yeah, well, you're talking apples and oranges here, though. I mean, like the Nagant revolver, they can make it today and have better metallurgy, but you would still have the same issue with it. You get dirt in there because of the way the channel runs on the cylinder and stuff, and then it jams. And there were a lot of issues that they had with it besides just parts breaking it. Just the complexity and how easy it was for that revolver to jam and stuff was the main issue with it.
So we can send people to the damn moon, but we can't make this revolver work.
Allegedly. This is a Model 360. It's not
as reliable as what a standard regular revolver is. That's why they stopped making them.
They tell us they went to the moon.
Mm-hmm. All right. I get you.
I gotta head out because wife wants to go to Walmart and stuff. So I will catch you all later.
Thanks for jumping in this morning.
Take care, Rich.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
We'll see you, Rich.
So we are at the top of the hour. Why don't we do a giveaway? There's 8 entries. So if you're out there and you want to get entered here pretty quick. Well, I get over to the giveaway tool. And let me pull that. Go ahead and pull that banner down. There we go. So you got a 1 out of 8 chance. And it is Misfits Darling.
Oh,
So I can send that if you want. I can just send it to your PO box because I should have that address. still.
Yeah, good.
So I'll get that sent out probably Tuesday. I don't like to wait. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
okay. Told you you're a winner.
Yep. I get sprinkles.
What was the prize?
You get sparkles. It's a sparkly Stormtrooper. No FUD zone patch. Couple channel patch stickers. And then pocket Constitution. And I'll probably some other stuff that I'll throw in while I'm packing it all up.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's legal because I just won Gary's show. Well, this isn't Gary's show. It's like a
this
cover
is
for
your
Gary's show.
stickers and patches.
Yeah, I know. People say, we conspired or some conspiracy here, but, technically it's not even the same show. So,
And Ozzy sent in a picture of his new knife. So we'll show it off. It's a SOG.
that's funny. Yeah, open mail. I've seen those. They always seem gimmicky to me, but I guess there's a purpose. I mean, you could, it's always something you just need a little blade for here or there.
I've got a little they call it a multi-tool, but it's key shaped and it splits in half. You open it up, one side's a screwdriver, the other side's a blade, and the back is probably supposed to be a bottle opener or something like that. Then it has gone everywhere I have gone.
Nice. It's usually a good idea to keep a cuff key on a ring you can easily separate, because a lot of places won't let you bring one in, depending on what you're doing. Like especially court and stuff, I get questioned a lot with a cuff key. So sometimes it's easier just to be able to just leave that in a car or whatever. So just point that out. So if I don't know, other people carry cuffs or whatnot. So if you do, you might already be familiar, but it's good to have that separate. Plus, if you need them, you're going to have to hand that over usually. So in some cases, depending on the situation, they're going to swap, cuffs right then and there. But other situations, you might get held up for a little bit. So it's good to be able to just hand off that key if need be.
I just want to say a quick hello to Mario Mechanic Molina. And I'll say I've had that little key tool for probably 20 years, and everywhere I have gone, my keys have gone everywhere. We'll say that. They never get a second look.
Yeah, I'm speaking on a handcuff key. He had a handcuff key on his ring there, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
So we are 2 hours in, 2 hours to go. So if G-Webs is out there, I sent you a link. We got a couple spots open if you're not busy. So what were you saying, G23?
I was going to say, Rob, the wife wants to know why you carry a handcuff key. Is that how often you get put in cuffs?
No, sometimes I'm carrying cuffs as well, but I don't know. I was gonna bring that up kind of as a feeler out for a topic. I see Ozzy has keys. I carry cuffs and keys at times, not all the time. And is that something you guys consider? Is it legal in your states? All that type of stuff. New York, you had to take a class to legally be able to use cuffs. Anybody can buy them, but if you use them, you're going to jail for what is it? Unlawful detainment or whatever they like to refer to, because you're not trained. So if you go spend $115, go down to the local place or whatever, they got them all over different things. There's a schedule, but if you go take the class, you're good to go. So basically, is that something people consider? Because a lot of us carry a tool that can take a life, but do you carry anything else that may prevent you from having to go all the way to that last step? I realize we're not police officers, but there's I don't know. I've seen situations where it would have been nice, and I know legally, depending what you use to restrain somebody, that's going to get you in trouble too. So if you use an extension cord, this or that or whatever, it can turn out to be problems. It shouldn't, but it can. So is this anything people consider, or am I just crazy?
I don't believe there's any law against it in Washington. I'm looking it up now. I don't carry either of those, cuffs or keys. I know somebody that used to, but it's not something that I have considered doing. Well, I have considered doing it for work, but decided against it. Anybody?
After 23, anybody got anything on that? Or
I'm sorry, I'm eating breakfast over here. I did see a case once where a group of people were coming out of a bar, and one of the guys was active military, and there was some jarring going on between them and some other random dude in the parking lot. So the random dude pulls a Glock 19. The military member was able to disarm him. He was close enough in, and made the weapon safe, and everybody was holding that guy on the ground. And when the police showed up, they decided to bust the balls of the military dude who resolved the situation, disarmed this guy that was pulling a gun on innocent people that were unarmed.
Yep.
And they charged him with unlawful detainment because he had his foot on the guy.
Yep. Yeah, it can get it's rough. It can be hairy. But I think I'm one for options. So
As far as I can tell, in Washington State, there is no law against handcuffs. Mario might like them for other reasons. Cuffs are kinky kind of stuff.
nah, not real cuffs. Nobody likes those. So
Only the fuzzy pink ones.
Mario says, I do carry 2 tourniquets, one on me and another in a car.
what about zip cuffs? Is that something you guys have set away for bad times, possibly, or anything like that? Obviously, I ran into some people that feel that you can't even buy cuffs. You can't get that. You can get all that stuff online, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know.
Depending on your
keep.
Depending on your state, it can be illegal to possess certain items that could portray you as a law enforcement officer.
Okay, well, I'm just, is that something you guys have, for SHTF or whatever, or you know what I mean? If there was an issue you had to deal with down the line.
I have multiple zip ties, um, thin ones, thick ones, different lengths and stuff that I keep in my vehicle at all times. So I could easily turn those into zip cuffs if I needed to.
I wouldn't recommend those, especially during normal times, because that's one of them things where, it can lead to issues and has in the past. That's why I'd recommend using what law enforcement would use, which would be zip cuffs. That way, the injuries, what's the word? Negligible, I guess. There's precedent for that use. It's approved. But if you go ahead and just use a regular zip tie, now you're looking at possible trouble with that. So, just, during normal times.
When I go down to Massachusetts, you have to just let them murder you and your family, or else you'll get charged with a crime.
That sounds like New York, but I'll gladly go to jail first.
So does anybody have any plans to go to the range this weekend?
Hoping to get out, but I can't guarantee anything.
Does anybody know any active or former military members that might like a day at the range? It was really rewarding taking my niece. She really enjoys it.
You can take me to the range if you like.
Anytime, Rob. Anytime.
I don't.
I had a trip planned out to go to Endicott this past fall, but ended up getting canceled because of the China virus. My uncle and my aunt, they're retired now, so they live in Endicott during the winter, and then they go up north, up to the lakes for the summer.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Most people tend to go down south, but it's back and forth around here for a lot of people.
Oh, the Finger Lakes are so beautiful.
Yeah, they are nice.
Mario Mechanic. Lena says I'll be in, is it Sevierville, Tennessee this weekend. Plan to pew pew there at Bud's Gun Shop. Join me. And Ozzy said, dead bad guys can't testify.
True, but don't forget, they were only trying to buy new shoes.
There was a case in Massachusetts where a guy was breaking into a home through the sunroof. What do you call those on a house? Is it still called sunroof?
Skylight.
And he fell onto the kitchen counter and got stabbed by a knife that was on the kitchen counter. And the owners of the home got charged with some type of crap and sued.
Oh yeah, the same things happened with a guy was working on his house, and he was working on his stairs going upstairs or whatever, and crook tripped on his stairs, broke his leg, something like that. Obviously, they figured out he was there. Police came, busted the guy, and then they sued him for the code violation or whatever because of the steps. So basically, he got robbed either damn way. You know what I mean? Like that's it's ridiculous.
It's insult to injury. Yeah, these people didn't get charged. I'm sorry, they got sued.
Are you sure you weren't just watching Liar Liar? Because that's in Liar Liar.
What is
the guy falling through the skylight?
You know what? I probably the way my brain works these days, that's probably exactly it. Good pull, bro. Now
I'm not discounting your story. I'm just saying that's.
No, I think you're right. My 47-year-old brain pulls memories like that and thinks they're real.
It's crazy. It's like I know in this state, like you can have a fence around your pool. You leave for work, the neighbors hop your fence, get in your pool, and one of them drowns, and they want to sue you for it.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah, it is messed up.
It's just ridiculous because if they had not committed the crime, they would not be in the position to hurt themselves.
Exactly.
And nobody can be
Exactly.
accountable for their
Same
own
thing with
actions.
trampolines. So careful about the trampolines. The same stuff can happen. When we had one out back, I made up a waiver, so all the kids' friends that came over, their parents had to sign the waiver for them to get on the trampoline. So, yeah, call me what you want, but whatever. I'm not getting sued because your kid wants to, break their leg being a dumbass or whatever. So,
In this day and age, do you think that waiver would hold up in court?
honestly, I don't know. I would, I would I'd like to think so, but I don't know. Yeah, 100%. Who's to say? But in my opinion, they should have, like, almost like they do at for contract. They should have like a pre-thing already made up, sitting there next to the trampolines and pools. So when you go ahead to buy one, you can just pick up a pack of those waivers too.
So what is Aussie? 48? 49?
I think a little older than that. I remember, late 70s, early 80s, having my parents sign a waiver form for, neighbor's pool or whatever.
I remember the waiver forms when you went on field trips and whatnot, but never to go over a neighbor's house.
Yeah, because I think it was my grandparents. Their neighbor had a pool. I think we did it for that, and then someone else. It was probably like a birthday party or something, where we filled out another one. Ozzy says he's 61.
Known people to do that. They got property and you want to go up and ride ATVs or whatever, they'll have you sign a waiver. So I've known people to do that as well because there's again cases where you're nice, you allow people to come up and do stuff, they hurt themselves, and then next thing you know, you're getting sued. So it's just that blows my mind with people sometimes. As soon as money gets in between a friendship, boy, you can say goodbye to that friendship, is what it seems like. Or possible money, I should say.
So most of those waivers would not stand up in court because all you'd have to do is argue forced coercion, saying that I was either forced to sign it or my kid couldn't participate with their friends.
I'd fight that. Like, buy your own damn trampoline. Tell your kid not to play. Who gives a crap? Personally, I mean, you know what you committed to. You signed the letter. Were you drunk? Did you have a gun to your head? Oh, you just wanted your kid to be happy? Well, now you live with it. You pay for it. Too damn bad. You didn't care then. Don't care now that there's a bill involved. I'm hard.
These judges in states like you live in, Rob, New York, and states right below me where I'm from, Massachusetts, they just love to penalize people. So these cases go in front of them, and it's like they get off on putting a penalty on somebody and punishing somebody, even though it's probably not their fault.
Have a good day, Mario.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, I think so. And and that's a lot of that type of stuff, in my opinion, is borderline scamming in a sense where, bills are more expensive, all this stuff, and people are, oh, it's an insurance thing. Yeah, well, you still got to pay for insurance and all this stuff. Your bill goes up. Like, I just, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the whole you being stupid and then suing everybody thing. So
yeah, the cost
if
for
it's
all of us
legitimate, if it's legitimate, then fine. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of people just itching, trying to sue anybody. I mean, crap, you can see videos where people just throw themselves in front of cars. You know what I mean? Trying to collect a check. Like it's just ridiculous these days.
Just got off the phone with my attorney. My lawsuit against Rob for calling everybody litigious is finally going through.
My niece, who I took to the range yesterday, she got rear-ended last month, really bad, totaled her car, and she's not one of those people that came out and grabbed her neck and went to the hospital and sued and whatnot. In that situation, I'm kind of almost like, you should have done that because everybody else does it. Why shouldn't you get a $10,000 check because some woman was on her cell phone and rear-ended you? But if you're honest, if you're honest, then I guess that's can be more of a reward than living with the fact that you lied and scammed.
Yeah. I mean, in some cases, I think, with your kids in the car, things like this, you probably should at least make a record to get checked out, or, your mom's with you that's a little older, because it's rare, but in some cases, problems do show up a day or two later.
Because
so if you don't have any record, then you kind of screwed yourself. So not stating that, you should harp on every little thing, but I had an example. I dropped kids off to school a while ago. Tight pull in, my truck tire was like tilted out some. Mom came up, dropped her kid off, hit my truck tire. Didn't do any damage that I noticed or anything. It looked fine or whatever. She was freaking out. I was like, it's no harm, no foul. Didn't get any information, this and that. We went about our business. I'm driving down the road. Next thing you know, my tires are squealing. Well, it bent my tie rod in. I didn't notice it, just a quick look. But then later I realized, is that expensive? No. But should I have to pay for it? No. Did I have her information? No. So, I wouldn't have filed a report, but I would have said, it's going to be at least $50, lady. You know what I mean? And, we could have settled up. That was just something, minor to a vehicle, but, God forbid it was, a reaction to a back surgery I had 2 years ago or something like that. It's the same principle in a matter. It's good to at least get their information.
Georgia trapping and fishing. How's it going? Yeah, I had one time. It was my fault. I pulled out in front of a guy, and I forget what he was driving, but it was uglier than what I was driving. And he's like, don't worry about it. And he puts his foot on the wheel and starts reefing on the fender and pulls it out enough where he can leave.
Oh, that was you? No.
But
I was like, something I do. I can't tell what scratch it was. No big deal.
Yeah, that was it. There was no doubt that crumpled his fender, but it was most of his car was crumpled. So
I was entering an on-ramp with 2 left-hand turn lanes onto the freeway in my tractor trailer. I was in the right lane and the light turned green. There was nobody in the left lane, so I went about 3/4 through the intersection when this Honda CRV came flying up on the inside, trying to beat me onto the on-ramp, and she slammed into the Hondas, damn Hondas, and she slammed into my back trailer tires. So when she made contact, I stopped, and she obviously stopped. She had to because she was into my trailer pretty much at that point. And so we were blocking the intersection as the light turns green for the cars to come the other way. So I told her, just back up into the lane that you were in, and I'll pull across onto the on-ramp. And so we did that. The police show up, and they talk to her first, and then they come across to talk to me, and they're blaming the whole thing on me, saying that I departed my lane because when they got there, I was across and she was back, thinking that the accident happened when she was still in her lane. So she's trying to blame the whole thing on me. And and the police wrote up the report like it was my fault. No matter what I said, they still wrote it up that way. So I had to fight it to get cleared.
223 DMR. How's it going? You see that? Have you seen I don't remember if it was on Instagram or on YouTube, but gal rear-ended a guy at a stoplight, And so he pulls off, and then she comes walking up and is like, "You backed into me. Don't you remember? You backed into me." And he's like, "No, I've got it on video." She goes, "No, don't you remember?"
Yeah, we
think
have
the guy
dash
was
cams.
driving a new vet.
What was that, Rob?
I was saying, I think that guy was driving a new Corvette or something like that.
I don't
And they-
remember what it was.
Yeah, they have gas station footage of it. The clerk showing the whole deal and everything. She rammed right into the back of him, and then she said that he ran into her. Like, people do the craziest stuff, man. I had
Well, it
it
was
out
just-
on the highway with people. Some lady cut across like 2 lanes or 3 lanes trying to hit the exit. I was in the middle. I ended up cutting to the slow lane because she almost ran me off the road, and I had a full load on my truck, stuff on the ladder racks, everything. And she kept cutting over, and beat the horn. I'm slowing down, actually locking the brakes up, kind of fighting the line of keeping the whole load from shifting off and locking up. And then finally I end up on the shoulder, and there's a bridge coming up because of the intersection. And she realizes, she's in front of me, or I'm behind her, and screeching sideways, kind of, or starting to crop a little bit. And the next thing you know, she flips up, like she lets off the brake. So I'm like, all right, cool. I look over to try to get back over onto the actual road. And I turn back real quick, and I see her flip her middle finger up, and she locked the brakes up again. And I, bam, just blasted her. It was bad. Like, nobody stopped, all this stuff, all these screech marks all over the highway. Cops show up, and they're trying to hand me a ticket. I'm like, whoa, like, wait a minute. Like, she dang near ran me off the road. Like, we were in a situation and recovered, and then she flipped me off and put us right back into a situation. Like, the lady got what she was looking for, and we're going through this. The guy wrote me a ticket, was trying to hand it to me, and I was like, you can give it to me, but I'm going to fight it. Next thing you know, the dude started reaching for his gun. Like, oh, you want to fight? It was crazy. Like, my lady starts screaming. She's like, calm down, yelling at me, yelling at him. I was calm. I'm just saying, look, you can give me the ticket, but I'm going to fight it. Like, this is crap. And the dude freaked out. Like I said, had his hand on his gun and yelling about fighting and stuff. Then another officer came up, got him to go away, thankfully. And, they were talking to the other lady. She admitted cutting me off. And that's the only damn reason they didn't hit me with a ticket. I couldn't, it's crazy because in New York, if you hit somebody in the rear, it's instantly your fault. So apparently, even if they cut through, 4 lanes of traffic and get you off the road and then, lock the brakes up on you a second time. So, but I ended up not getting the ticket and didn't get shot, which is crazy that the guy just went for his gun. And that just pissed me off more. Like, what the hell? But I did get screwed in the end because she had the same insurance company I had. So, they had to pay over $8,000 or something like that for the rear end of this SUV that wasn't even hers. And then the next thing you know, my bill started slowly going up every month. So
That was
damned if you do, damned if you don't, man.
That was something I never understood, was the like the insurance fraud and stuff where people would cut somebody off and then slam on the brakes. I didn't, because it's not like that here. I didn't understand, I didn't know that it's basically automatically whoever is rear-ending the other person, that they get blamed. Because I'd hear stories about that, see stuff on TV, and that I never understood it until I started watching YouTube videos of people that with dash cams where people would like back into them, or the stupid ones are like people on bikes who would walk backwards and then jump on the hood, and then once they saw there was a dash cam, then they'd run away. But
yeah, we have dash cams in our trucks, and there's been a number of drivers that have been cleared, especially with a rear end accident. You're automatically fired. But if somebody comes flying onto the freeway and brake checks you, and you ended up tapping their rear end, it's put on them because of the dash cams, which is great.
Yeah. I know there's one of the companies, one of the drivers that I see all the time. If there's some jarring motion, if there's a bump or something like that, there's a camera that looks at them that comes on automatically too.
We only have the outward facing ones. At night, there's been some drivers that have gotten in trouble for using their cell phones while driving because you can see a reflection off the windshield at night, especially if it's illuminated like a cell phone would be. But ours are only outward facing. We had a guy get cleared. A woman was coming the opposite way. It was a 2-lane undivided 45-mile-per-hour zone, I believe it was. And there was there's a sharp drop off the shoulder. And so she must have dipped her horse trailer tires off the shoulder, or her Chevy pickup truck tire off the shoulder, and overcorrected and slammed to the back of his trailer. And the cop showed up and automatically wanted to blame the driver, saying that he had a lane departure, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. But the dash cam can actually pick up your rear facing mirrors on the front of your hood of your tractor trailer as well. So it was able to show that he'd never crossed that line and that she slammed into him. So the cops are automatically going to want to blame you if you're pulling a trailer of some sort, which she was too. But she was local and they were local, so they were probably looking to pin it on the driver because it's more convenient, and it's a large corporation and they have insurance and blah blah blah.
Probably some of that too is I don't know about every state, but like in Washington, if you're a commercial driver, it's twice the fine. So it's twice. The state can charge you twice the money.
Oh yeah,
it's like that in New York too. Even like my work truck, I could have went commercial with it, but everything, even a blinker ticket, it all starts around $1,000 for everything. So versus normal, you know what I mean? Plus you have to have road flares, a certain amount of oil, brake fluid. You have to stock a bunch of stuff in your vehicle as well, at least in our state. So then I'm losing space for tools and things like that as well. So the restrictions are a lot higher if you're in a commercial vehicle here. So
I think a cell phone ticket in commercial is something like $2,500.
Yeah, I had a driver tell me that like on a DOT inspection, that for brake lights, if you've got multiple lights within that brake light, every bulb that's out can be a ticket.
Oh, and you have these guys that light up their trucks like Christmas trees. You see the guys that add all the extra lights to the trails and whatnot. So if you do that, you're putting it on yourself that every single one of those lights has to be working.
It's nuts. A guy I've worked with in the past lives out in PA, but works in New York, works both sides or whatever. Bought a van, an old school bus van. It was like a regular van, something like G's van probably, but it was class, I think it was a 3500 or something. So he just was in a jam. His truck broke down. He was looking for something quick. He bought this van, started driving it, and he got popped on his first day or second day coming across the border with over $18,000 worth of tickets because they deemed it as commercial. So he didn't have a DOT number. They hit him for everything. He ended up getting out of it for like $5 or $6 grand, and that was a good deal. But he had no knowledge, no idea. Nobody told him when he put it on the road, none of this. And, I think he put it on the road in PA. But basically, hopped in his new used vehicle, drove to work and got nailed for, close to $18,000 worth of tickets without even knowing.
Good morning, Defense Dad.
We had a hazmat situation in one of our trucks probably 5 or 6 years ago. The total ticket for that one was $85,000.
Ooh.
A drum of hazmat ended up getting pierced because it was floor loaded behind a shorter pallet. So when the fork blades went into the shorter pallet, it just, obviously went through and pierced the drum. And it was kind of like a humid day that day. And whatever hazmat it was, I forget exactly what it was. It wasn't anything that was extremely harmful. But when it interacted with that humid air, it created a cloud over our entire terminal.
G23 is going to be jumping out here in just a second. So is there anything you want to plug before you take off? No? No?
He's muted.
Are you there? G23, are you there? Okay. I will say he does a Saturday chat, 3 to 6-ish, Saturdays. So, and he's gone. So if you're looking for something to watch on Saturdays, around the 3 o'clock Pacific time, check out G23's chat. Uh, 223 DMR saying when I was DOT in Georgia, I popped somebody without having US in front of their DOT number. Wow.
Yeah, it sounds like something 556 would do.
They always find something. Even if you have an immaculate inspection, they'll get you for something like the fire extinguisher isn't properly charged or something.
That's kind of like the POC charges, the pissed off cop charges. Even if there's nothing to charge you with, there's always something to charge you with.
Whenever I get an inspection, I always ask the officer to kind of walk me through and show me what he's looking for, so I know what to look for when I do my pre-trips and whatnot. They're little peccadillos that they look for.
And then it probably changes from officer to officer.
I haven't dealt with DOT too much, so thankfully. I know once I was riding along in a rig and the dude missed the pullover, and that got a little sketchy. I tell you, those guys rolled up like we robbed a bank, man. Like it was crazy. Dragged us out of the vehicle, all this, want to know why. Next thing you know, they're whipping laptops out, scales. Like we were there for like 2.5 hours. Like, it was crazy. They screamed at the driver like he was like their 12-year-old that came home late and stuff. It was amazing. I was just kind of in shock and awe watching the whole thing go down. I mean, obviously they wanted to, who am I, all this stuff, but they don't like you skipping those stations. I'll tell you that much.
You know what? I always get taken back when somebody raises their voice at me. And the first thing I always say is, why are you yelling at me? And most people back down and calm down and kind of realize that they're overreacting. But cops, they yell at you even further at that point.
Yeah, some do.
Like they think they have the right to talk to you like that.
Do you guys have the I'm not even sure what they call it, but where you don't have to pull over to the scale, they can weigh you while you're in transit kind of deal?
No, I've never seen that actually. I think the scales themselves, when you get pulled in, they have some type of indicator that can give them kind of an idea of what each axle weighs, and then they can determine which lane to put you in, the bypass lane or the scale lane, to get a full weigh. But I've never seen it on like a active freeway.
There's something like that, and then there's a
They can
reader
weigh, like,
that.
one tire, right? And then just do the math.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it works. There's like a reader that hangs out over the lane even, so it can read something that's on the top of the trailer. Or I don't know if there's a transponder or something like that it reads.
They have dimension machines that can get the dimensions on anything. We use them in our warehouse. When they strip the freight coming in to go out, they put it under that, and it gives them the full dimensions, so they can get an accurate cube on the trucks that are going out.
Even on box trucks, or just like stuff like flatbeds?
I'm sure, like if you put a box truck under that reader, it'll give you the full dimensions of it.
I mean, are they doing? You're talking like flatbeds, though.
No, we do vans like 48 to 53 foot vans, but the ones that go out at night for our line haul guys that run point to point are 28-foot trailers, and then they string them together with a jiff or a dolly in the middle of them.
But they're flatbeds, so they're looking at what's laying on top of it.
Oh, you're talking about flatbeds?
No, I'm talking about that scanner you're talking about. It's just checking the size
Well,
of the truck that leaves, or is it looking what's on a flatbed?
So the scanners that we have are for the freight that's on the dock. So you say you pull a pallet off of a truck that was picked up by myself.
Oh, you scan it after it came off the truck.
Yeah, so they pull it off
Oh,
of the
that makes more
forklift,
sense. Okay.
and they put it under that scanner, and it gives the full dimensions. So
Instead
when it's
of just
loaded,
weighing it, in other words.
yeah. So the forklifts themselves have a scale on them. So when you pick it up with the scales, you'll get a readout of what the weight is. And
Right.
so all this stuff gets reweighed and redimensioned so they can charge back the customer if it isn't what they said it was on the bill of lading. And it
Okay.
also gives you an accurate cube when you're loading the trucks that go out for line haul or over
Yeah, it
the
lets
road.
the computers tell you exactly where everything goes, right? So it's all weighed
Yeah,
in.
and they can maximize the space available in the trailer.
That's pretty cool. You would think that the forklifts could just do that as they pick it up, but, get the weight and measurements right away.
Yeah, they can get the weight, but not the measurements. We used to,
Forklift
in the old
drivers
days,
are
we used to, I'm sorry?
Forklift drivers are lazy.
Yeah, right. In the old days, we used to carry tape measures. And when we picked the freight up, we would have to send the dimensions in.
I know you mentioned scanners on the roadways and stuff. I'm sure most people are aware, but cars get scanned too. So all your major cities, all your major highways, interstates, they're usually looking for registration plates, bad insurance, suspended licenses, things like this. So as you're traveling and you see the big poles with a bunch of scanners, they are looking at you too. So
might be
they get
monitoring, but they're not
crystal
stopping.
clear pictures. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I don't
So
doubt that
if
they're
you try to say
monitoring.
it's not you,
They're
they can see the sesame seed on your tooth. Like, it's unbelievable. But I'm telling you, they're pretty good.
They might be counting, but they're not enforcing that way.
I don't know.
Not
I've known people that have issues. So
Well, I guess it's true.
whether
Like,
insurance
but I've had-
lapse or this or that, the next thing you know, they're pulled over down the road. Or as soon as they hit a small town, that department gets notified, and they get a ticket. So it seems like they're on, at least in New York area, they're on top of that stuff.
It could go there, but it isn't there now because they have that what you're talking about, where all those cameras on the poles and stuff, so you have to drive through them.
It's there here.
Huh?
I was saying it's there here. They're already doing that here. So I know here. I was ticketed in DC with a light at one point. Perfect photo, everything. There's no denying it. So I mean, they're publicly say this, at least here. The one time I was at a store, an officer came in and gave the cashier a ticket because their registration or something was up. I don't even know. So they had to ask whose car it was, and then it was the cashier, and I had to sit there and wait while the officer gave the guy a ticket. The officer said he had no choice. He drove by, the computer picked it up, and there you go.
Because like I said, they got those cameras when everybody that drives between Tucson and Phoenix hits those cameras, and I've definitely hit them on other places, on the interstate, and they're not stopping there's no way everybody I'm driving with on the highway is clean. You know what I mean? Like if they could stop people like that, they would be.
Yeah, they do here. I can't say the percentage of how many go through that they get marked versus how many they actually stop with available free officers at the time or whatever. But they do.
Oh no,
they
it's
do
got to
stop
be a math.
here.
It's got to be math. Like the percentage of people that don't have lights or insurance or all that has got to be, let's say it's 25% everywhere. So, as soon as there's enough people, then it makes it worth having a person stop everybody and start collecting fines. But if there's only 100 people and they know they're going to get 20 fines maybe out of that, is it worth having a person on the call? But if there's 1,000 people, they're going to get 200 people with fines, then yeah, they're going to put somebody on the board. So as soon as they get robots to do all that stuff, if there's anything that's slowing them down, then I imagine that's something that they'll head towards.
I couldn't find a good picture, and this picture here, I know it's small, and when I go to the website, I can't find the picture on the website. So hopefully you can see where the red truck is. Right above it is the reader that I was kind of talking about. And I guess there is a scale in the roadway. So there's a designated lane that they drive through, and the scanner scans something and it weighs the truck while it's in motion.
That's amazing.
Well, only port vehicles had the number on top, right? To my knowledge. Standard commercial vehicles, they don't have a number printed on top.
Yeah,
Or as far as,
none of ours have a number printed on top.
yeah. So I think that's just the docking, or not docking. The vehicles coming to and from the ports, I guess.
Ocean containers.
Probably something. I don't. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. That sounds like it's definitely more your area than mine.
Before as a driver, I worked in a warehouse and we would break down ocean containers. It was like a third-party warehouse, so we would store freight for other companies. And some of the places would get these ocean containers in from China or Europe or wherever, and we'd have to break them down and palletize them all because they come in floor loaded. And some of them would be loaded front to back with like 6-inch boxes of calculators from China or something like that. So we'd be there for like 12 hours straight stacking these things on pallets. It's pretty awful.
When I worked for RPS, which they got bought out by FedEx, a small shipping, and they did mostly commercial stuff, and I was an unloader, and that's what it was. We would unload, and then they had a conveyor belt system to send it to the other side of the warehouse to be loaded on trucks for delivery. And there was a hat company, so the trailer would be full of these same size boxes, and they were hats. Can't remember if they were Stetsons or something like that, but it was kind of funny because you would get a line that would go all the way to the other side just from your trailer. And then if you ever wanted to brake, you just push a little bit and it would kind of jam stuff up, so they'd have to stop the belt. It was interesting. But being commercial, people would ship ball bearings. So you get this little box of ball bearings that weighed, 100 pounds. I had to unload. Somebody shipped an anvil.
No.
Luckily, it was a small one, but it was interesting.
If they got those cameras up all over the place where they're watching the highway, and then somebody is in a whatever, like kidnapping or some kind of robbery or something, and they leave in a car. Well, is that what those cameras are supposed to be able to do? Like basically be a police eyes everywhere. So as soon as they hit one of them cameras, they know where they are.
They're used for different purposes, probably depending on the locals and what's in their budget and whatnot. So,
like if they want to participate or not, like everybody who put them there owns the cameras, as opposed to like all being part of Skynet or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I know I picked a friend up a few towns away. He was drunk, his motorcycle. He ended up at some girl's house out somewhere. Needed a ride home, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a real pain in the ass because it's like the middle of the night. I had to go pick a trailer up to go get him. Went and picked him up. Started when I got there, it was a trailer park. So of course he spills out the door. Come on in, have a drink. No, trying to be quiet. His bike was an R1, not quiet. So instead of firing it up, I just rolled it up on the trailer, strapped it all up, and tried to get him get the heck out of there so I can get to work in the morning. But stayed. Finally got. So I didn't even start the bike, is what I'm getting at. Pulled out. We come back, and it's probably like a 40-minute trip or something. And I get about, I don't know, I can almost see my door, and we get pulled over. And basically, there was a report that we stole a motorcycle. and they located us from one town off the cameras into this town. So the state troopers communicated through, and that's basically what they told us. So then, I had to sit there. He's losing his crap because now they're accusing him of stealing his own motorcycle. Oh God. Turned out to almost be a thing, but needless to say, ended up getting out of it, no problems, this and that. But they do use the cameras, so we'll put that out there, even for suspected things. I'm sure they do help law enforcement.
Rob, did you ever see that reality show? I think it's going back a few years now, where the whole premise of the show was to see if somebody could disappear for 24 hours without being traced. It's probably scripted, and a lot of it probably wasn't real.
I've seen some of it, and I would have loved to have been on it personally. But yeah.
And in the every time they caught the person, it was through some of the surveillance systems that they use on freeways and within towns and whatnot.
In the winter, I'll look at the DOT cams just to see the road conditions. There's, I think, 5 kind of in this area on the highways.
When they first went up, that's what the whole point was, I thought, is just to be able to get an idea of the traffic, and then, like how if it's snowing or whatever, if it's raining or what. But everybody used to look at them.
It's kind of like anything that the government implements. It's, they give you the good reason to do it and then use it for whatever else reason. Like the seatbelt laws in Washington. When they wanted to pass it, they told everybody it's a secondary ticket. It'll never be a primary ticket. And now it's a primary ticket.
So in Massachusetts, they use those surveillance cameras around like beach areas to watch the nesting piper plovers, to make sure that their babies can, thrive and survive, and make sure nobody's disturbing them. They actually canceled the fireworks tonight up at Hampton Beach in New Hampshire because of the piping plovers. And they put those cameras like right next to an abortion clinic.
So like everybody can watch everybody going in and out of there, you mean?
No, it's
make sure the birds don't go in there.
It's kind of a joke, but not a joke. And they do this down in really nice areas of Florida as well. They protect the beaches so the turtles can lay their eggs properly and they thrive and have a great long life. But you can go right down the street and get an abortion.
There was I can't remember where it was, but because of the turtles, they basically at night you can't have your lights on.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah,
so the turtles don't go the wrong direction.
That's like down in Palm Beach or something. Well, they do that up here in New England for the piper plovers.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything quite like that. And as far as I know, it's just highway cameras. Some in
Something
town.
else. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say it's something else that's a little funny that people might find helpful or interesting. A couple of friends of mine went out four-wheeling. They were having good time, all that stuff. This group tends to go on long rides, like you might be gone literally sundown to sun up. They ended up going through a certain area where properties connect, this and that. Somebody called in on them and complained. I can't speak for if they were on somebody else's property or what. I don't know all the deal. They're normally respectful, older guys, all got jobs. It's like their getaway. So I can't speak for whether they were or not. Who knows? But they ended up getting busted. I don't know, 4 or 5 hours into their run when they came near a road, because apparently somebody called in hours ago, and I think it was the state troopers pretty much tracked GPS on their four-wheelers. So they had a map of where the hell they were going and everything. And when they pulled up close to the road, the officer pulled right up to them and popped them all and started writing tickets. So
there's active legislation right now to get that in every vehicle. Not only that, to be able to shut down your vehicle whenever they want.
That's
Oh,
something
yeah,
they've been
yeah.
talking about for years.
Yeah, they
Wanting
have
to do that.
I don't think it'll pass at this point, but there is legislation.
Because I remember
Oh,
back 90s, they were trying to do that in the 90s.
They used to have those little
In
cars
order,
they
in
could
order
shoot
for
out.
something like that to happen, you'd have to have some kind of order that said you'd have to smash up all the old cars or something crazy like
Or have them retrofitted, possibly.
they're not getting my clunkers.
They already smashed up all the old cars, right?
A lot of them.
Cash
The
for
cash for
clunkers.
clunkers. I could see it just, kind of like with fuel efficiency, where they say from this date on, it needs cars need to have this.
Yeah, they don't say, hey, if you retrofit your car, it's all good. They go, hey, we don't want any remnants of American cars that could last forever. Look at Cuba. Those cars are lasting forever. Were they made in Russia? No, they're made in America. So, you know what I mean? They want cars to look disposable. So they want property to look like it has to be perishable. I think that's an aspect of it, because you can take anything old and turn it into electric. You can take anything old and turn it into hydrogen. You can take anything old and turn it into ethanol. Take anything old and turn it into unleaded. I had an old leaded car that I got sick of it having to find leaded gas, so I turned it unleaded. They didn't allow people to do that, really. They said smash them up, or they gave you an incentive to smash them up at least.
I have a question about
Well,
electric cars. Since they're pushing so hard for everybody to get themselves into an electric car these days, why the hell, with full turning wheels on a vehicle, how are you not able to generate enough electricity to charge that battery on its own so it's self-sufficient and you don't have to plug it into the wall when you get home?
They
Is
don't
that
want
something
you
that's
to.
possible? Yeah, because nobody's going to make any money, right?
Yeah, they don't want you. It's. I was just gonna say, like to G's comment there, it's like it's an oxymoron. Everything nowadays is supposed to be green, save the planet, but yet they make everything to be tossed away and replaced. It doesn't make any sense. It's like they're talking out of both sides of their mouth here.
Well,
But
you
I
couldn't
agree with you. I think they could make those cars to where they basically could do that. Would it be a little heavier? Probably. Would you have to put a little more into it? Probably. But I don't see why you couldn't really, because you
I
are
don't think
generating.
you can't have 100% efficiency just because there's going to be loss in the system, whether it's electrical resistance or physical resistance. But yeah, if you had like front wheel drive and then the rear wheels were two other generators, so they're rolling and creating electricity.
Well, if it's not 100% effective or efficient at this point, at least it's something, to get some type of charge while you drive.
It's like I was saying, if you had two wheels driving and two wheels generating, you'd have really good efficiency.
Because those electric bills are no joke. I've seen a lot of posts about how much it costs to charge a Tesla, and also an electrician that came on a radio show I was listening to and saying that he's getting calls to go into neighborhoods in Massachusetts to install these charging stations. And sometimes you can't do it because there's already a certain amount of charging stations on that block and the grid can't support it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, and it cannot, the electrical grid could not handle everybody going electric at once. And, every few years there's talk about the infrastructure needed, we need money for the infrastructure, but they don't spend money on the infrastructure. So yeah, it's kind of a problem. Electricity is cheaper out here because we have hydroelectric. So it's a lot cheaper than it is back east. But
what about the poor fish?
Well, that's actually a thing where people want to get rid of the dams because of the fish.
Didn't they create like a step system so the fish can kind of wiggle their way up?
Yeah, the ladders, the fish ladders.
Ladders, yeah.
But there are people that want to eliminate the dams completely.
Same thing with nuclear power here in New England. New Hampshire generates over half of their energy from Seabrook, the nuclear power plant. It's the cleanest, most renewable energy that's possible. but yet they're against that as well.
Yeah, we are at the top of the third hour, rolling into the fourth hour. So let me play a couple commercials while we have a couple guys on the panel here. That was the wrong one. Oh, where the hell did I put that other one? Where did it go? Well, shoot. I lost my thing. There it is. Got it.
Disco is dead. Disco is not dead. Disco is life.
Yeah, it's the Wednesday Night Mouse Party. It's every Wednesday, 10:30 Pacific. Just a chat, hang out, have some fun. And
It's like the Super Bowl, man. I mean, it's almost just worth coming here to watch the ads.
So while we've been sitting here chatting, I smelled smoke, right? I'm like, what the hell was that? And it was like not barbecue cooking smoke right now. It was like, okay, this is something's going on. And it smells like fire, not like a backyard burning leaves. Plus nobody would be doing that right now. And I go out there and I look, and sure enough, there's smoke coming. So if I'm on one street, it's the next street across the street, right? So I could tell it's like not my across the street neighbors, and it's not behind them, but it's across the street from them. And then there's smoke coming, right? So I grab my camera. I'm sure somebody's called the fire department, and we live really close to a fire department. And I turn my camera on, the black smoke starts coming. And I mean, I don't know how long this video is, maybe 4 minutes long. And fire department got there, put it out, white smoke, and then nothing. It was crazy how fast it, I don't know how much damage it did, because it seems like there was a lot of smoke, but crazy how fast they were able to put it out.
I had one night at work. It was probably 3, 4 in the morning, and I could smell smoke. So I, walked around work, made sure it wasn't us, went out back, and I could smell it. And it was that structure fire smell, not like a campfire smell. And you could see the smoke, but I could not figure out where it was coming from. And I see the fire truck drive down one road, cut across, drive down the other road, and it stops, and the driver looks at me, and I just put my hands up and shrugged, and he goes, okay, and then he drives off. So I don't know if they ever found the fire. I never found out where it was or what happened.
The color of smoke can give you a good indication a lot of times what type of fire. It's not always a guarantee in some cases, but if you see really dark smoke, it's best to avoid it if you can, especially if it is an old building, things like this. There's a lot of chemicals that you can pick up, and those are the type of things where, you smell something funny, it's no big deal. And, and I don't know, 10 years later, you find out, you're dying because of this, and you start to wonder. So, not that, one exposure is a problem in a sense, although it could be, depending what it is. But it's best to try to avoid a lot of that darker smoke if you can. So, building fires can actually be very, very harmful to your respiratory system. So, depending on the structures. So, just a little something out there for people.
You had some people get really sick from those floods out by you, Rob, many years ago, where the river flooded and, got into all types of stuff, and people came into contact with it and ended up getting really sick.
Oh yeah, and the dust from all the river soot. So I had to bail out basements, literally bucket loads of nonstop, like a line running buckets out of stuff, pulling dead fish out of heating ducts. I mean, it is pretty nasty.
Yeah, that was nasty. My aunt has a book that shows all the aerial pictures from that flooding. It's pretty amazing.
Cool. Yep. Yeah, I got some good photos myself. I probably had that same book when everybody was locked down. I was out and about, so got a lot of good photos. But it was an interesting time. Let me tell you, I was busy.
Yeah, people don't realize when you get floods like that, it's not just water. That's sewage backing up in that water and everything too. You don't want to be in that water.
And the sewage treatment plants, the gas tank, underground gas tanks, oil storage tanks, all that type of stuff. All that crap, the one guy's got around hidden behind the back of his shed, 5 car batteries, half an engine block, all that stuff. Yeah, it's everything.
All the meth labs.
Yep.
No, the meth labs make it where you don't feel the pain from the rest of it.
They add like a numbing agent.
Exactly. It's a local anesthetic.
It's funny though when you see something pretty significant and then you can never find it on the news or any reporting about it whatsoever. I was coming down a freeway heading into Massachusetts one time, and there was a DOT truck, like a pickup truck with a liftgate on the back of it. And as I get closer, I see a guy, and there was a cruiser probably 25 yards in front of it with its lights on, but the state cop was still sitting in the car. And there was a guy laying face down in the back of the pickup with a 55-gallon drum on its side behind him with a pool of blood around his head. And then there was another DOT worker just kind of pacing the wood line on his phone, talking to somebody with like his head in his hand, his other hand type thing. And I scoured the internet trying to find out what the heck happened. Obviously, the guy was dead and didn't see any reporting on it whatsoever.
I just want to say hello to Abigail. Good morning or afternoon or whichever applies.
Yeah, things like that, I guess, are definitely questionable. A lot of times things happen, you don't hear anything because there's investigations going on. If it's deemed criminal in some cases. Other times, it just does make you scratch your head. I think they use a lot of that investigation is cover because I've known, lots of places where I've seen police interactions that you'll never hear about. And it almost seems like in some cases they want for one reason or another, they don't want these on the books. They don't want it publicly known. Good example, just the other day, was walking actually on a trail here. A bunch of kids from the local college over there were talking about how they got a tour of the police station or whatever it was there, this and that, and they came right out and told them, don't call 911. It's not going to work. Basically, you call our offices because basically they want everything kept in house. And I know the local college here, basically these college kids can pretty much do whatever. And if they're close enough, what he mentioned earlier, Endicott, Vestal, Endicott, if they're close enough to the college, they just get turned over to college police, and it doesn't hit the paper. You never hear about this stuff. It just didn't happen. They handle it in house, and I believe that's to keep numbers looking good. College here, every year or two, a kid ends up dead. He either washes up in the river, in a creek, falls off a building, something. But you don't. It's always gone by next semester. You'd never heard of it. There was a place downtown. A couple places just got shut down because the owner was drugging girls and doing bad things. It's now you'd never hear about it. Like it's like they just erase these things. Like it might, if it's lucky, it'll hit the paper for within a week, and then it's gone because they want that revenue. It's like the whole city, everybody's in on this, the police department. So I don't know, maybe it's just my area, but I think a lot of things they don't want people to know, whether it's for safety reasons, for trying to attract business, trying to attract students, whatever the case is, but way more goes on than we know about, than they publicly put out there.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Short, concise, and to the point.
Well, that's the key to good communication. Brevity. Yeah. Let's see. So I put a link for Ozzy's holster video out in the side chat. So when anybody gets a chance, go check it out. It's short. It's a pretty cool looking holster for his Uberti 45 long Colt. For those who might not know, Ozzy makes his own holsters.
I don't see any serial numbers. I consider them ghost holsters.
Does good work with holsters. I like mine. I'm wondering if he's ever getting around to like IWB inside. Yeah. If so, I'd definitely be interested. Obviously here you can't carry open, so I can still carry OWB, but I gotta have a cover shirt, this or that, obviously things like this. So and IWB would be helpful. I'm not sure if he's into that, so
Abigail brings up college cops are worthless. One of my friends told me about a professor that got arrested for soliciting students. I'm kind of surprised he got arrested. I worked on campus at Washington State University, and yeah, there's stuff like that goes on.
so you're one of the campus guys, huh?
Well, it was there was one day I was working. They redid all their communication stuff, so all of the internet and stuff like that. So they had to go through all the dorms, and we were in one of the freshman dorms, and this was many years ago. And I'm looking at the freshman girls and thinking, yeah, she's kind of cute. She's kind of cute. And then one of them walks up to me and called me by name, and I was a little bit shocked. And it turned out it was somebody who grew up with my sister. So she had, been to our house and stuff when she was younger. Then you feel creepy.
I was gonna say, did the first name she call you by, was it Creep?
Yeah, I used to get upset with my sister because they would always pester me. Leave me alone. Back when I was in high school and they were in junior high.
Funny.
When I first started working for this company, my first run was in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which is a very liberal area right outside of Boston. It's a city. And that's where Harvard and MIT are, and Tufts. So I used to make a lot of deliveries to those campuses, and yeah, there'd be some pretty good scenery around summertime.
Yeah, I was in my mid-20s when I was working there.
It's cool.
You know, when you're in your 20s, you know, when you get up into your mid-20s, dating 19-year-olds is fun, but I kind of got to a point where you just couldn't talk about stuff because you couldn't relate. So luckily, that's where I met my wife, and been happy ever since.
Worked at a college a few times, but yeah, I didn't have really any interaction with people or anything like that. So honestly, was more focused on work and pissed off that I was still getting charged to park. Like, uh, you guys want me here, and now you got to get billed to park too. That's crazy. So, and ticked off about the wage. Like they. I was getting like $36 an hour just to empty out furniture and stuff. Like, walk through the building, anything you see that's not bolted down goes in a dumpster. So $36 an hour ain't bad. So whatever. So but at the same time, they want to take out like, I think it was like $600 out of my paycheck for taxes on that, like 650, 7. Like, that's freaking ridiculous. Like, I don't know. Man, colleges have always been a pain. So a lot of contractors will, if you get in on a college, they don't want to tell like the helpers and stuff about prevailing wage, and they'll try to screw people too. So you got to be careful of that. I haven't had those issues, but I've been at Hartway College, done roofing panels, seam seals, gutters, all that type of stuff, and those are usually long days. You're running around on a boom lift at like half a mile an hour, and every 2 seconds the tilt sensor's going off and all this crap. And you can't look at any window, because everybody's like, oh, they're trying to peek at me or whatever. It's just they're a pain in the ass, honestly. In my opinion, the money's good, but it's slow and it's just a pain. And parking, everything's a pain in the ass.
So when you were peeking in those windows, Rob, did you have the handcuffs slung on your belt?
No. Wasn't like that.
Anyone that went to WSU, Washington State University, in the mid-90s, I was probably in your dorm room at one time, because I pretty much was in every dorm room on campus. It was kind of fun getting to run around with the guy that laid out the boreholes when they'd have to bore through one of the concrete walls, because he had keys to everywhere. So we'd go anywhere we wanted to go, in the stadium, up on the roof, some of the buildings. It was fun. I was young, irresponsible. So
my uncle had a coring business, and I worked a summer for him when we were actually working at Tufts University, coring through the cement floors to run a new plumbing system, pipes and whatnot. And so my job was to literally stand below with a bucket and catch the core. The machine made a certain noise right when it was getting to the bottom. So I would just kind of chill out, because it took a good 10-ish minutes or so to core each hole. And so I would just sit there until I heard that certain noise and walk over there and catch it with the bucket.
Yeah, all the cores they did were horizontal, so we never had to worry about that. It was interesting too to see how, running all the cable and stuff like that, and how all that worked together. You got to see all of the campus and see stuff that most people don't get to see.
Did they charge you for parking, or did they let you park in an employee area?
They did charge for parking. Pullman, where the college is really small. There's two main roads that kind of cross, and one way is only probably 2 miles, and the other way is probably another 2 miles. So it's real small. But I would just ride the bus most of the time, because if you had student ID, you could ride for free, but they never checked ID. So I would just ride the bus.
Doesn't it seem wrong that they can charge you for parking when you work there? Like, not necessarily wrong, but kind of crappy.
Were you working there, or did you actually work there?
Not working there. I didn't work for the college. I worked for, a sub basically through the college. So they hired a huge company, and that got broken up into, 20 small companies.
So I'd take that up with my boss, I guess.
So G-Webs, before you take off, what do you want to plug? Plug something.
If I can get my stuff done here, I'll be doing Instagram wrap up later on today, and then probably I'm doing the 3D print chat with Night Strike, seeing how he used a Raspberry Pi to hook up a camera to his printer so that he can do those time lapse printings where it looks like it just gets created out of nowhere. So I'm going to find out how he did all that stuff. It's about $100 worth of stuff usually, so I'm trying to figure out how to inexpensively add that element to my printers.
Do you know what time you're going to do that?
2 p.m. I think, my time, our time. So 3 p.m. No, 5 p.m. on the metric time zones. But anyway, thanks for hosting. Appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for the link.
Oh, thanks for jumping in.
That's why I would never want to be a roll-off driver in any college area, because they treat those areas right in front of the dumpsters like their own personal parking spot. So it must be so frustrating pulling up there to swap out and having to track somebody down to get the car. I wonder if they do track people down to get the car moved, or if they just drive away and say, sorry, it was blocked. But I imagine it's going to be extremely frustrating for the driver.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that that's something that the campus would give tickets for blocking stuff like that.
Because I would see it every single time I was on campus. I'd drive by a dumpster area, and there would be probably 4 or 5 cars blocking the dumpsters.
I had a friend that for a while he delivered pizzas, and he would get tickets if he stopped in front of the dumpster to go deliver.
I wouldn't park in front of a dumpster like that myself because of that reason. And tickets, all that type of stuff, plus the trash and whatnot, or blocking somebody's path. But the thing that really gets me is when people double park, like you're not supposed to. They just roll up, double park, and don't even care. And then the next thing you know, you're stuck. Like, I think it should be legal for me to get in my truck and just push their piece of crap right out of the damn way, personally. Or at least punch a window out or two. Like, that just drives me nuts. Like, that entitled and crap feeling, like, blows my mind. Blows my mind.
I had a guy
Uh,
threaten to beat me up one time because he parked in my loading zone. I'm trying to make a delivery with my truck. He's parked in the loading zone because there was a T station, public transit, right next door to the place I was delivering to, and so I had a double park across him to make the delivery. So I'm blocking traffic and I'm blocking him in as well. He comes running up and is threatening to kick my ass if I don't move my truck, this and that. I said, "You're in my loading zone." He goes, "Who are you, the police?" And I just kind of like waved my hands up and down in my uniform. I said, "No, I'm a truck driver." He's like, "I'll kick your ass."
Double parking must be an East Coast thing. I don't really see it over here.
And then we
Oh,
have
that's
all types
horrible.
of bike lanes in the city too. And so if I had to make a delivery on a busy street where there's no loading zones, I have to double park and block the bike lane. And this guy came by on a bike, had one of those old school bike ringers, you know, what do you call those? The bike bells.
The bell.
And he starts chiming it as he's going by me, yelling at me, going, "That's a bike lane you're blocking." I still laugh about that to this day. He's going to town on that bell.
Those bikers get pissed.
Oh, they do, yeah.
There's like a war going on between the bikers and car people, I guess. So I don't know. I'm
So
not a
many-
part of it. I've seen some videos where, my God, these people are losing their stuff. I mean,
So many
you
of those
know,
people get killed in traffic down in the cities around here because they don't follow the rules.
yeah, man. I don't know. You know, it's almost like I see the same thing with people that ride motorcycles. Like, I got to be honest. You know, I have a helmet. I don't have a bike anymore. I used to ride, but you know, half the riders are pricks. You know, but the other half are doing things right. And then the next thing you know, the good half is getting blamed, or people try to run you off the road and all this crap. Like, they just hate you because you're on a bike. Like, there's some stuff, dangerous stuff going on out there. You know what I mean? So definitely be careful.
Every time a cyclist is killed in the city down in the Boston area, they chain a bike to like a pole or a tree or something and paint it white and put flowers and whatnot on it. And those things are absolutely everywhere down there.
So is that a warning to the other bike riders?
I guess. Just for curiosity, I looked up the statistics one time a couple years ago. I forget what the exact numbers are, but I remember that I was shocked. Like, holy crap, that many people are killed on bikes and pedestrians per year in the city. Holy crap.
Yeah, but those are
Yeah, but it doesn't say like half of them are on their, you know, got iPhone or headphones on, and they're riding like they're in an empty parking lot on a summer day. Like, you know, they just don't even look. They just boop right to the side. You know why? Because I'm entitled, and you have to stop for me because I'm a pedestrian. Well, guess what? You might not be able to stop. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but they don't give a crap.
I looked
Like,
into a few of
some
them because
them,
they
not all of
involve
them,
trucks.
some of them.
And every single one that I looked into, it was the bicyclist's fault and the driver was cleared.
What were you saying, Rich?
I said those bikes are trophies, you know, like having the deer head mounted.
Oh, man.
I've been going down a 2-lane road, and it's known, you know, in the summer, certain time of year, like cyclists travel it a lot. And there'll be a bunch of people on the side. It's like some kind of national bike race thing or something. And, you know, you're driving along, there's, you know, it's a 2-lane road. And next thing you know, you got a line of cars coming towards you. And then you got all these bikers on the side, and they're always bitching about holding lanes. And as soon as it gets tight, like, you know, where everybody should be courteous, they literally want to spill over into your lane as traffic's going through, almost like intentionally trying to cause you to hit the other people or run somebody off the road. Like, it's a joke. Like, you know, and then they wonder why people get pissed off. I know people are guilty both sides of this, but like I said, some of these guys, I don't know, they get a kick out of this. You know, you're going to get somebody killed.
Well, it's like the pedestrians who think that no matter what, the pedestrian has the right of way. No, you don't.
I remember one of the bikes that the guy ended up getting killed. I think it was by a Conway truck. They're XPO now. It was either a Conway or a Coca-Cola truck. Was going through an intersection, and a guy came into. He was in the crosswalk on his bike, but he was riding his bike at bike speed through the crosswalk. Crosswalk is supposed to be walking speed only, so the driver can have enough time to react. And so the guy on the bike was going too fast. The guy in the truck never saw him. Boom, kills him. So they brought in the whole investigation team. I think they actually brought in the FBI and whatnot. and cleared the driver because the bike. So when you're crossing with a bike in a crosswalk, you're supposed to get off the bike and walk the bike across because drivers won't have enough time to react to you if you're going at bike speeds. And so he was cleared.
The town I used to live in, there was a bike race. There was the TSP, the Seattle to Portland, and our town was the midway point. So some of the riders would stay overnight, and then some would just pass through. And it was a nightmare because they would cross right in front of where we lived. So, you'd get this long line of bike riders coming through, and they would maybe stop for stoplights, maybe not. And that's one of the things I do not miss about that town is every July is that TSP bike race.
Yeah, the Abigail's comment out there, most states, if not all, if you're riding a bicycle, you have to follow the same traffic laws as everybody else on the road.
They don't.
No, I know they don't, but
Most bike
they're
riders
supposed to
probably
be.
don't even know there's rules or something. I mean, around here, this
I'm
is
one
bag through traffic like nothing. Like,
no
it's
doubt.
crazy because people will just be walking down the sidewalk and, they'll be singing, dancing to themselves, all types of shit. Like they're starring their own mind and just walk right in the road, just boom, just right. And then want to freak out at you because you had to lock your brakes up in order not to hit them. Like, if things were different, I think you should be able to hit their ass. If you want to play with fire, go ahead and play with fire. You can't take for granted that the ground's not going to be wet. There isn't wet leaves on it. Maybe your brakes suck. Maybe you got bad tires. Maybe it's raining or snowing. You shouldn't be put in that position because they want to be a dumbass. Like that's that entitled stupid shit where you deserve to get ran over.
Yeah, it's like when you had all those people playing Pokemon Go when it first came out, just walking out in front of cars. You had several states pass laws protecting the drivers because there's nothing the driver can do at that point because idiots are too busy watching their damn phones and not where they're walking.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen people walk into stuff in the city because they have their AirPods in. Say I'm just like sitting there waiting for a dock to open up, just watching people. I've seen so many people with their AirPods in, and one guy almost walked directly into the front of my truck as I was waiting for a dock, looking down at their phone, and they literally just walk into things or trip over something. It's amazing. No awareness whatsoever.
Around here, you get the homeless that will cross wherever they feel like it. And on the way to work, it's an intersection where you stop, but if you don't have to stop, I have to make a right turn, and it's a blind corner. I can't see pedestrians that approach the corner until they get to the corner. So you get guys that they never stop in the corner. I don't know how more people don't get run over there.
I don't know. I think it's different with like young kids or something, something like that. You expect them not to know better, but when you're an adult, you should take a look. You don't just jot out like that. To me, I don't see that I see that as stupidity and thinning the herd, I guess. So just want to make it clear, obviously kids chase balls, all types of things, and don't, they're still learning. But once you're an adult, you should know better.
And it's funny when it rains out, it's like people lose all common sense whatsoever because they're afraid of getting a little bit wet. So they have their head buried under a hood or an umbrella or whatever. That's when even more so than the earbuds and the phones, I've seen people walk into things because, God forbid they get a little wet.
Yeah. Speaking of people walking into things, last week, Steven Crowder had the funniest video on his show. There was a guy, the cops were at the restaurant. They had parked there right by there. They could see the guy because it was one of those walk-up restaurants where you order at the window. Guy decided he was going to vandalize the cop car right in plain sight of the cops. The cops come running over to stop him. He takes off running, keeps looking back at the cops. The big iron poles that have the streetlights on them, runs smack dab into one like it's a guy like you would see in a cartoon. He did the whole Flintstones thing, boom, and fell down. It was funny as hell.
That's
He just
funny.
lays there on the ground, just holding his face because he probably busted his nose up and shit. It was hilarious.
I was riding a bicycle to school one day and just riding along, no problem. And man, there was this girl on the other side of the street. Man, I was looking at her. That's all I could say. Next thing I know, I'm on the ground all laid out and, looking like a mess because I rode right into a no parking sign. So, so I guess I'm guilty, but at least, I was looking at something good.
I don't think I've ever walked into something like that.
See Abigail's quote comment out there. She said a few weeks ago, 2 guys tried to steal one of those poles. Jeez, how the hell would you steal one of those things? They're massive.
So none of you guys were ever looking at a female and walked into something?
No.
No.
Or rode a
Not
bike?
that I can recall. No.
Well, I can tell you feel pretty stupid, but they laugh, so it's an opener.
Man, that just sounds like something you would see in one of those romantic comedies or something. That's how the guy met the girl. He was watching her and he ran into something.
Abigail's saying they strapped it to the roof of a minivan.
The one I'm talking about would probably crush a minivan. Yeah, this is one of those fancy ones that's like got the fluting on it, and wasn't a small pole.
Mandatory carry walked into a fire.
Yeah, walked into a fireplace.
Oh, it.
Alcohol was a factor. Yeah, usually is.
Well, he's honest. I'm gonna say I don't believe it. It hasn't happened once. At least something. Yeah, whether you bumped yourself on a counter or something, but yeah,
Set your
had to
shoe
have
on
gotten
fire.
distracted at some point.
Yeah, set your shoe on fire.
Well, that's it.
I've split my head before, but that was just as a kid running around the house. You trip or something and hit the counter.
Oh
They
yeah,
split straight down the middle. I've got a
or the
scar
coffee
next to my
table.
eye from the fireplace.
No, I mean like looking at a female or whatever floats your boat.
I've walked into 2 bad marriages staring at people.
I think coffee tables are designed to kill kids off early.
So I knocked myself out one time. I was at my parents' house when I was younger doing laundry, and I think I had 2 baskets going up to the top of the stairs. And at the bottom of the stairs, there was a landing, and then the ceiling began there, and then it started to taper up the stairs, obviously. But you had that metal corner piece that you put under plaster over the sheetrock. You know what I'm saying? And so I wanted to get one of the baskets up to the top of the stairs without going up the stairs. So I like put all my effort into it and tried to throw it to the top of the stairs, and my momentum slammed the back of my head off of that piece.
Oh!
And I woke up face down on the stairs.
I've hit my head on that jumping down the stairs. I had grown a little bit, so I didn't clear it quite. Yeah, just kind of scraped it where it didn't knock me out, but I felt kind of woozy for a while.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Yeah.
Thank God it wasn't sharp, or else I would have needed multiple staples in the back of my head. But it did leave a little dent.
Yeah, when I was probably 13, 14. We had just moved into a house, and my stepfather was in the process of remodeling the porch in the back, so it didn't have a railing on it. And we had set up one of those little plastic kiddie pools in the yard and we were running off the porch, jumping into that little kiddie pool. I forgot my mother's clothesline was going across the yard.
Oh man.
I literally clotheslined myself with a clothesline.
Every year you get those ATV accidents around power lines where somebody gets just about decapitated by a line.
Just want to say hey to ATL Auditor.
Fences are bad with ATVs too, or dirt bikes. Some people are pricks and they'll hang up barbed wire or something like that around trees. So you got to keep an eye out, especially if you check out. Yeah, and my rule of thumb is wherever, even if it was a normal place I'd go, I'd always take a slow ride through to check first, because once in a while you'll find a piece of like guitar string or something or wire strung up somewhere. And I've actually seen like punji pits made where, you know, you'd be riding along and drop down in and have some issues. So even though it's public land, like, you know, but there's some people that get a little funky out there. So always keep an eye out on things.
I was going full bore on an ATV across a field, an open field. And then all of a sudden, boom, there was a ditch and there was no way I could avoid it. Hit it full speed, threw me off the ATV. Just missed getting run over by my own ATV. I was lucky. No injuries whatsoever. Really lucky.
Yeah. My kids got to watch a guy on the brand new RM 250, basically endo, and bust his leg, and it ended up bone sticking out and everything right in front of him in a field similar. So, because the guy first time there, like, we were all yelling like, yo, no, and he, you know, wanted to show off, cracked on his bike, and bam, like within 30 seconds of him unloading it, we were calling the ambulance. So like, kids look over at my bike, they're like, nah, I'm not riding today. Like, so
yeah, my buddy split his femur in half doing that with his ATV up in the sand pit right by where I grew up, going over jumps and whatnot. Rolled it and split his femur in half.
Oof.
I got knocked out once wrestling a guy that was I think he was state champion or something at the time. So it was at like a party thing, and I don't know, one thing led to another, this or that, and I got pinned against a couch and I just couldn't get out. I couldn't roll out of it. There wasn't anything I can do, basically. Dude got me, and between being pinned and the lock, I ended up blacking out. I swear I woke up thinking I was driving a race car. It was the craziest thing. Like, I thought it was funny. Everybody there freaked out. The whole place cleared out. That guy took off. He was worried what was going to. It turned out to be a big ordeal. Like, and I was completely fine, but it freaked everybody. Everybody like lost their shit. It just kind of killed the party. But that was pretty nuts, though. So you know, thankfully it was in the situation it was, and I wasn't killed during that time period. But it's interesting.
Just remember, hit him in the nuts or bite him. I've done that while sparring. Got kind of twisted up, so I bit him, got out of it.
Yeah, this wasn't. You know, it wasn't a fight. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We weren't really trying to hurt each other. You know what I mean?
We used to knock each other out. Friends of mine and my relatives knock each other out on purpose. I don't know if you guys have ever done it. This is probably why I'm lacking in the brain cell department.
No, what kind of stupid jackass stuff is that?
Between that and the malted hops and barley, it's probably why I'm suffering in the brain cell department. But no, it's not. You don't punch each other in the face. You basically bend over and you breathe deeply for like 30 seconds. And when you stand up, you cross your arms across your chest, and somebody from behind you picks you up and just squeezes really hard, and it knocks you out. And you wake up with like this kind of like tingly, weird sensation. You can hear the voices around you before you actually wake up, and it's almost like you're in a dream. We used to do that shit all the time. A buddy of mine,
be a New England thing.
A buddy of mine did that to his brother, and his brother fell over into the wood stove and burnt the skin off the side of his face.
Ow. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done anything like that.
So, show of hands, who's going to try it after the show's over?
No.
Definitely no. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that's the stuff you do for fun. I thought you were cool, but I don't know, man.
Hey, don't judge. That was a long time ago. No handcuffs were involved.
Bet you your wife's got a safe word, doesn't she?
No. He's divorced.
Yeah, it's called debit card.
You're very good at stepping into stuff, Rob.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
I am divorced twice. I'm on my own now, thankfully. And at 47 years old, I don't think I'll be doing it a third time.
You don't go for third time's a charm?
Well, if I go the other way and meet a nice man, I could automatically double my wardrobe if he's my size. So I'm kind of leaning that way.
It's always good to have a plan.
Every time I have to pay my bills, though, I kind of wish I had a second person with an income.
Well, I don't know, man. Yeah, people cost money, so sometimes that's a blessing.
Yeah, that's true.
All the unexpected stuff that comes up times two, plus all the wants and this and that, and
So it's my
kid wants this or that or something or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, things add up.
We have split custody of the kids, so this is her weekend. So I have literally nothing to do for the entire weekend. Took my niece to the range yesterday, stopped and got a nice steak on the way home to cook out on the grill. Got the grill fired up, looked out there, it was all heated up. I go out to scrape it, and I saw the temperature dropped, and I'm like, what the hell? Ran out of gas. And, of course, my spare tank, I hadn't swapped it out yet. Ended up cooking the steak inside on cast iron.
I recommend getting an extra tank.
Yeah, I do have an extra tank. I just haven't swapped it yet. For some reason, I thought the tank out there had enough in it.
Yeah, but you can always rotate out or whatever, and then you don't end up stuck. It's just a reminder you gotta, fill it up next time.
Yeah, now I'm gonna. I should do it right away. I procrastinate, so now I'm gonna do both of them, and I'll be good for the summer.
I've always wanted to get a nice stainless grill, gas grill. Don't tell Guns and Barbecue that I want a gas grill. But I just know I won't use it enough.
Tractor Supply has some really good, like 5-burner, decently priced stainless grills, like really nice ones. Even Embers, they're called.
Well, gas has its place. Honestly, charcoal's definitely better, definitely. But when you're in a hurry, this or that, I mean, that's where gas is perfect. I mean, it's I guess with burgers and stuff, you kind of get that taste or whatever. But if you only got a little bit of time and you're really not the, what do they call it, barbecue meister or whatever the heck they call it, then I can see it's ideal.
I use copper matte, so you don't really get that gassy flavor.
Seen those at the store yesterday. Are they good?
Oh, they're awesome. I love them for steaks. You get like a really nice thick steak, and you won't be able to cook it properly on a grill if you don't have something between that and the flames. So the copper matte works perfect. So you can cook at. I get the grill as hot as it'll go.
The as seen on TV one or something like that. I don't know. I didn't see it on TV, but I seen them for sale for like $6 for 2 of them. Dishwasher safe.
I get them at Walmart.
I should have bought them then.
Yeah, it keeps your meat from getting scorched when you cook at high heats.
Hank Hill says that with propane, you taste the meat, not the heat.
I don't know. When you do burgers with with gas, that you can taste it, in my opinion. It's almost like with charcoal. If you run just straight match light, you can kind of taste it. But if you run a few match light coals on regular coals, it doesn't you don't really taste it. So I don't know, but everybody's got different taste or whatever. Yeah, who knows? But for me, I notice a difference between gas and charcoal. But I've owned gas in the past. Done the whole hibachi thing on the porch and almost lighting the siding up. I've made a lot of mistakes over time. So
I've got basically a little hibachi style grill, but it's in with my prepper stuff. I guess emergency supplies.
My father's got a smoker. He did a turkey one year for Thanksgiving, and I tell you what, that's the juiciest turkey I've ever had.
I think rotisserie would be ideal. I don't think I've ever tried that, but rotisserie chicken, it's fabulous as far as like the tenderness, juice, or whatever. You would think doing a turkey like that would probably be pretty good.
Oh yeah, rotisserie turkey's good.
I used to have a toaster oven that had rotisserie in it. It did really good chicken.
There's a local grocery store here in New England called Market Basket that does rotisserie chicken, and then they throw out like 50 at a time to sell them. And they do legs and stuff too, but they do the full chickens, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, back when Boston Market was actually good, they used to have the rotisserie turkeys, and that was really good.
Yeah, we'll get them from the rotisserie chickens from Costco now and again.
Nothing beats a good beer can chicken, though.
I've got one of those kits, won it from barbecue. Haven't used it yet, but I've got one.
Oh, so good. Actually, yeah, that's where I learned it, Rob, was out by you, out in Endicott.
Huh. See, I never heard of it, really. I mean, well, I've heard it. People, I don't know, people do stuff all the time or whatever, but weird things, or what I would consider weird, but I didn't know it was an actual thing. Like, they sell kits and all that, and it's, good. So
yeah, my uncle's buddy would do it. There was a little bar that we would hang out at, and they did finger food and sandwiches and whatnot, just cold sandwiches. But during certain holidays, they would do beer can chicken. It's pretty good.
My first thought is, aluminum can. Like, you're sticking a can in there and heating it up at certain temperatures. And then I would think modern day lining of cans is actually like a thin plastic layer that gets put onto these cans in a sense, and most of them. So I can't speak for all cans, but how do you know what the heck's in your damn can?
Is it like a waxy coating or straight up?
No, I mean, I've only seen videos on this or whatever, but I guess it started with like the old steel cans or something, so food wouldn't get botulism or something like that. I don't know. Something to do about lining the cans. So apparently modern cans are lined. So I don't know if that transfers over to beer cans or not. So that's another thing, like with food storage long term, how people say you can eat canned goods, years and years afterwards. Yes and no, because depending on the can, it might have had a actual plastic lining to the inside that's going to break down after so much time. That wouldn't be good for you to consume a lot of. It's
a polymer or epoxy resin.
Okay. So I know there's something. So
now I'm gonna have to drink a beer to find out.
Good to stuff in something you're gonna cook. I mean, it kind of seems sketchy to me.
Rob wants to fist his chickens the old-fashioned way.
Well, I just don't know. Is there like I would assume somebody's looked into this. I can't be the only person or whatever. If they actually do this and sell for people to eat, you would think that there's probably certain things that are okay and certain ones that aren't. So maybe there's approved beers for this, or just any old can, or maybe it's not beer cans at all. I don't know.
Well, I'm just finding out now that I'm probably going to have 5 years taken off of my life because of the damn beer can chicken.
Well, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
It was pretty good.
Think about.
Pretty good.
So we're coming up to the end of the chat. You got about 5 minutes left. Pacifist, is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I just put a video out today. Go check it out. Military member of my active military member, my niece Samantha, took her to the range yesterday, and we shot a bunch of guns and had a bunch of fun. She's qualified as sharpshooter in her squad or whatever. So we went all the way out to, we started at the 50-yard utility range and shot a bunch of stuff. Then we moved over to the 200 and then ultimately the 400-yard range. And she was drilling an 8-inch circle steel target at 400 yards with the AR. So she's pretty proficient with it. Showed up her old uncle over here.
Nice.
Other than that, I'm just going to chill for the rest of the weekend. The damn birds canceled the fireworks up at Hampton Beach where I was going to go tonight. The Piper Plovers. But thanks for the invite, Voss. I appreciate it, brother.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you showing up, hanging out with us. Makes it a lot easier for me. Rob, what you got going on?
Not much. Nothing's planned. So I guess keep an eye out for further videos if that's what you're referring to. Other than that, put a couple out recently. Coffee review and a little trail hike deal. So just I guess thanks for having me. Everybody, try to get out and do something healthy. Do something active. Don't sit on your butt on the computer all day and eat a salad.
Plug your side business.
Oh, yeah. R&L Displays. Check them out. So, support your guns like they support you. And then, it's one more reason they just can't get violent. So, maybe got family members you need to explain that to.
And Rich, what you got going on?
Yeah, we got This Week Unloaded tonight. That'll be around 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And Rob doesn't do his own advertising. He wants us to do it for him.
Yeah. So
he always forgets, man. He's like, be on my show, and he's got something to plug. And he'll be like, "No." I'm like, "Well, don't you have like this product or something you're trying to sell?"
I figure most of you guys that wanted one already got one. So, people get tired of hearing it.
So there's links to their channels and to R&L Displays out there. So give them all a look. And just want to say appreciate everybody who's been out there and watching and chatting, and those who might have been watching without chatting. I still appreciate you too. And for those who have been on the panel, appreciate you. It makes it fun. Everybody participating makes it fun. Everybody out there, everybody in here. And for those who might watch in the future, appreciate you too. Leave a comment. We can keep the conversation going. I look at all the comments. Anything that we talked about, if you have anything to add to it, or if you have a disagreement, go and throw it out there. I appreciate all the comments. Even if you disagree, I'm fine with constructive criticism. I appreciate it. It helps make me better. And so I'm just trying to stall for about a minute more so we can hit the 11 o'clock. So, yeah. Come on, clock. Come on. I can't see how many seconds. I don't have a second timer. But so, but I do appreciate everybody. And let me find an outro. What outro should we use? Outro. Yeah, we'll just go with an overnight outro. So, try to make the most of your day. Oops, that's an intro. All right, I'm all discombobulated now. I messed up. Everybody have a good day.
You still here? It's over. Go home.